Let's get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanan Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले सोऽयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्राब्धिपीयूष सर्ववेदैकसत्वद सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैकदृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्षि ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधुता दायिन् अतिनिचोच्चता कर हानमुंच कदाचिन्मां प्रेमणार्थकंठयो स्फुर श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम की जय। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome all of you in today's session. In between, if you see some issues with the sound or anything, do let me know by interrupting. So first and foremost, apologies that we could not begin our sessions yesterday. I was coming back from Prayagraj and then train got late, and then by the time I reached here, there was a lot of issues with internet because it's raining in Govardhan from many like last 1 week or so. So I tried to sort of strike a solution, but it didn't work. So then finally I had to cancel. So never mind. Now in the rest of the sessions, we will try to cover this portion that we have. We want to complete chapter second first, and then chapter fourth is a very small chapter, so it will be done very quickly, like 2.5 hours. It should be over. Third and fifth chapters, yeah, they have discussions, so we will try to go with some pace by which we should be able to complete this section. Okay. So in today's session, we are continuing from chapter 2 onwards, 11th canto. This is chapter 2. Maharaj Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras. That's the title of the chapter. And we have seen till text 14 before. So now we want to continue from text 15 on, or maybe 13 till text 13. So we continue from text 14 onwards. So if you remember, in this particular chapter, we know that first what discussion is there is Narada's arrival in the palace of Vasudeva. And then Vasudeva welcomes him and praises him for his wonderful arrival, his merciful nature. And then Vasudeva makes the inquiry about Bhagavata Dharma. These two conversations in the 11th canto are most important conversations, which is conversation between Narada and Vasudeva, and then the second one, which is between Krishna and Uddhava. So in this Narada and Vasudeva's conversation, chapter number 2, 3, 4, and 5, they cover this particular conversation. And then Uddhava's and Krishna's conversation goes on from chapter 7 all the way up to almost like end of the 11th canto, except last 2 chapters. So about 23 chapters almost. So these two conversations have a lot of important siddhantas about bhakti, comparison with karma, jnana, yoga, wonderful discussion. So in that, this first section, there is this conversation between Nava Yogendras and Maharaj Nimi, which Narad Muni, he reiterates that conversation in order to answer the question asked by Maharaj Vasudeva. So that's what we are discussing. Narad Muni appreciated the questions of Vasudeva, expressed his joy at those questions, and then now he wants to recall the conversation and speak about this conversation between the Nimi and Jayanteyas, which means Maharaj Nimi and the Navayogendras, the sons of Rishabdeva. So we will now continue from text 14. Oh, okay, just a minute. Just multiple windows. So this is it. What, Krishna Rupa Mataji, you have a question or what? You raised the hand. Yes, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji, actually I was instructing my servant. Sorry.
Oh, oh. All right. Text 14. अत्राप्युदाहरन्ति इमम् इतिहासं पुरातनम् आर्षभानां च संवादं विदेहस्य महात्मनः. Okay. Anant Vijay Prabhu, you want to read the translation?
Explain the devotional service of the Lord. Sages have related the ancient history of the conversation between the great soul king Videha and the son of Rushabha.
Yeah, thank you. So in this matter, Atra, in this matter of the Bhagavata Dharma, Udaharanti, the sages, the wise men, they speak about Imam Itihasam Puratanam, this particular ancient story, Puratanam Itihasam, sorry, Imam Itihasam. So what is this history narration comprising of? It's comprising of Samvadam, the conversation or the dialogue that happened between Arshabhanam, uh, between the Arshabhas, the sons of Rishabhadev, and between Videhasya Mahatmanaha and the Mahatma from Videha. Who is that? That's the king of Videha called as Maharaj Nimi. So this king Videha, also known as Nimi, and the Arshabhas, the Navayogendras, sons of Rishabdev, they had this conversation, and it is frequently quoted as one of the standard conversations to explain the topic of Bhagavad Dharma. So Narad Muni is also quoting this authority of this particular narration. The words Itihasam Puratanam meaning ancient historical account are significant here. Although mundane scholars have foolishly tried to depict Bhagavatam as a mythological work or a recent creation, the actual fact is that Srimad Bhagavatam is a perfect transcendental literature. So when we talk about Itihasas, Puranas, somehow people have this misunderstanding where they feel like this is some sort of mythology or like that. Or if not, then they consider it as some sort of allegorical stories and all. So these ideas were especially made popular by some of the impersonalist people and then later by Indologists. So they coined these terms like mythology and all. So the name itself suggests as if it's a myth, right? It's not a fact. And we see that that usage has become so common that even Indian people who believe in the system of Itihasas, Puranas, even they call it as Indian mythology, right? So consciously or maybe unconsciously, inadvertently, and they end up thinking that, oh, this is some sort of mythology. So it's actually a perfect science, perfect. So even the usage of the terms actually means so much, right? We have to use the right words. We have to say these are Vedic scriptures, Shastras. These are our knowledge books. So in that manner, instead of that, if the words like mythology, whatever they call it, if they are used, then it just creates a very wrong kind of impression. So in this world, we see that that's how the words also govern the people's belief system, and they start making unconscious impressions on people's mind. There was this famous author called George Orwell. So he spoke about the usage of euphemisms, something called as euphemism, EUPHEMISM. So what is an euphemism? Euphemism is that which is a word which is misleading, which is a word which is used to in order to take away the real aspect and give some sort of mild version of that particular thing. Like some example is, instead of calling meat or calling as flesh, right? Do you eat animal flesh? People don't talk like that, right? Do you eat non-veg? So now what is non-veg? It's an euphemism. It is to take away that idea of actually it is an animal flesh. It is something which is procured by slaughtering an animal. So, or calling abortion as pregnancy termination. So you take away that idea of ghastliness from there and, paint a sort of very less cruel and mild picture of something. So this world is full of euphemisms. This world is full of misnomers. So similarly, this mythology or such words also, we see that they carry a very different sense actually. So these are actual facts. These are the historical facts from various manvantaras, sometimes from various planets, various manvantaras, various days of Brahma. It is essential that we hear these historical narrations, such as the conversation between Navayogendras and King Videha, with complete faith and submission. So they should not be just seen as some fiction books or some allegorical stories or like that. They are facts, especially if they are being described in the Shastras as facts. So they are facts this way. So that's the point that is being described by the word itihasa. Iti, iha, asam. Iti means in this way. Iha means here. Asam means was or happened. In this way, it happened here. That is itihasam. By definition, actually, itihasam, Puranam, Puranat Puranam. Puran means what? That which completes the meaning of the Vedas is known as Puranam. Or Pura Bhavati iti Puranam, that which is right from the beginning, right from the ancient times. That is called as Puranam. This way. So you see, even by definitions, these tell that how these are actually facts and not just mythological or historical accounts. Those who are inclined to enrich their intellectual life through the study of history should educate themselves in the historical narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Puranas, they are full of actually historical narrations. Sometimes in our pursuit of knowledge also, we may try to procure a lot of information from outside world. But oftentimes those are quite speculative accounts actually, right? If we study Puranas, if one has capacity and time and energy, ability, one can read even other Puranas like Vishnu Puran, like Garud Puran. These Puranas also are like just so full of Krishna Katha, so full of so many aspects of life, so many aspects of knowledge actually. Sometimes we may be struggling to complete Srimad Bhagavatam also, but what I'm trying to say is, yes, especially to the younger generation, if right from beginning, the Mahabharata, Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishnu Puran, Garud Puran, such scriptures, if they are taught, then there will be a great knowledge base which is authentic, rather than so much of knowledge base which is quite speculative or which is just some sort of experimental knowledge. So Narad Muni is also quoting, you can see, an authentic history, the conversation between Nimi and Navayogendras. So before that, he just tells the brief biography, or you could say biographical details of these people, especially the Arshabhas, the sons of Rishabha. Priyavrato nama suto mano swayam bhuvasya yaha tasyagnidras tato nabhir rishabhas tat sutah smritah. Please continue. Balabhadra Kripa Prabhu, you want to read? Translation.
Son named Maharaj Deva. And among they were the son was Agnisara. From Agnisara born Nabhi, whose son was known as Rishabh.
Yes, thank you. So Manu's son Priyavrat, and Priyavrat had 10 sons from one wife, 3 sons from another wife, right? So Agnidra was one of those sons, Agnidra. From Agnidra was born Nabhi, and Nabhi's son was Rishabdev. Tamahur Vasudevamsham Moksha Dharma Vivakshaya Avatirnam Sutashatam Tasyasid Brahma Paragam. Yes, one while going through translation.
Shri Rishabhadev is accepted. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Very nicely audible, very clear.
Shri Rishabhadev is accepted as an expansion of the Supreme Lord Vasudev. He incarnated in this world to propagate those religious principles that led living entities to ultimate liberation. He had 100 sons, all perfect in Vedic knowledge.
Thank you. Yeah. So that Rishabdev was known as Vasudevamsham. He was an Amsha of Vasudeva, meaning he was actually incarnation of Lord himself. He is Ishvara himself. Hmm. And he had appeared for what? Moksha Dharma Vivakshaya. He appeared with Moksha Dharma Vivaksha. Vivaksha is the desire to speak. Vaktum Ichha Sa Vivaksha. जो बोलने की इच्छा होती है उसको विवक्षा कहते हैं. So he appeared with a desire to speak. Speak what? Moksha dharma, the path of liberation, the path of freedom from bondage. So we know that he gave his wonderful teachings to his 100 sons, known as Rishabha Shiksha. Rishabdeva's teachings, very wonderful teachings. And he himself also showed the aspect of that vairagya, and that complete indifference toward the life of sense enjoyment and manifestation of that moksha as the highest goal. Of course, this moksha for devotees, whenever we talk about moksha, we should mean vimukti instead of mukti, vimukti, vishesh mukti, or vimoksha, you could say. Vimoksha means vishesha moksha. So we don't have to get repelled by the word moksha. For bhaktas, moksha means vimoksha, vishesh moksha, going back home, back to Godhead, or vimukti, vishesh mukti, love of Godhead, or going back home, back to Godhead. So that's what he appeared to speak about. Avatirnam, moksha dharma vivakshaya avatirnam. He appeared actually with this purpose of giving the instructions for moksha dharma. So he has given those beautiful instructions in 5th canto we have studied. And tasya asid suta shatam brahma paragam. And he had 100 sons who were all very learned scholars of the Vedic scriptures. They were all very highly educated, highly learned 100 sons. So those 100 sons, of course, we know that 9 of them became Navayogendras, who were the great self-realized sages. 10 of them became Kshatriyas, and the eldest of them was Bharat Maharaj, who was such a great soul. And then the remaining 81, they became Brahmanas, who were very, very expert in the Vedic rituals. So in this way, Rishabha's 100 sons, they all actually, based on their nature and guna karma, they actually became situated in these different paths explained in the Vedas. All right. Tesham vai bharato jeshto narayana parayana vikyatam varsham etadyan namna bharatam adbhutam. Yes, Arjuneshwar Bro, please read.
Of the 100 sons of Lord Rishabdev, the eldest Bharata was completely devoted to Lord Narayan. It is because of Bharata's fame that this planet is now celebrated as the Bharatvarsha.
Yeah, thank you. So, amongst all the 100 sons of Rishabdev, Bharata was the Jeshtha. He was the eldest, and he was greatly devoted to the Lord. We know that Bharata's story is there in the 5th canto. He was very, very devoted to Lord Narayana, Narayana Parayana. In fact, after his name only, this particular planet came to be known as Bharatavarsha. Before it was known as Iravrata but then later it came to be known as Bharatavarsha. Text 18. Sabhukta bhogam tyaktve mam nirgatas tapasa harim उपासीनस्तत्पदवीं लेभे वै जननृभिस्त्रिभिः. Yes, Samapan Goprabhu, you would like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
King Bharat rejected this material world, considering all types of material pleasure temporary and useless. Leaving his beautiful young wife and family, he worshipped Lord Hari by severe austerities and attained the abode of the Lord after 3 lifetimes.
Yeah. So we know story of King Bharata. Bhukta bhogam tyaktva. So he ruled over this earth planet for a long time, and then he left it, and then he went for doing austerities of devotional service. Uh, and there he worshipped also the Lord and attained Lebhe. He attained Tat Padvim. He attained the abode of the Lord. He attained the destination or abode of the Lord. But he attained it in Janra Nabhistribhi. He attained it in 3 births actually. Oh, okay. This seems to be a. Okay, this is a typo. That's what I was wondering. What is this word? It is Janmabhi. Okay. This in my version of Vedabase here, it's a mistake. Janmabhistribhi. Yeah, it's Tribhi Janmabhi. By 3 births, he attained the destination, which is abode of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, it's given in 5th canto. Tesham Navanavadvipa Patayosya Samantatah Karmatantra Pranetara Ekashite Dvijatayah. Okay, Narasimha bro, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. 9 of the remaining sons of Rishabdeva became the rulers of the 9 islands of Bharatvarsha, and they exercised complete sovereignty over this planet. 81 sons became twice born Brahmanas and helped initiate the Vedic path of fruitful sacrifices, Karmakand.
Yes. So Bharat Maharaj was the eldest. And then apart from that, the other 9 sons who were Kshatriyas, so they all became the owners of 9 islands of the Bharatvarsha. And the rest of the 81, right? 9 became Navayogendras, 10 became the rulers, so 19. How many remained? 81. 81, 81 of them became Karma Tantra Pranetar. They became the propounders of, leaders of Karma Tantra, the Karma Marga, the process of fruitive sacrifices of Vedic path, because that's what they were having, that sort of gunas. So they also adopted that kind of karma this way. Here, the sons of Rishabdev, it is said that they became the rulers of 9 islands of Bharatvarsha. So this, I think this line doesn't appear to be right, because these are not 9 islands of the Bharatvarsha. Bharata, Kinnara, Hari, these are actually 9 dvipas of Jambudvip. So the commentators say that the remaining sons of Rishabdev ruled on 9 islands of Bharatvarsha rather than these islands of Jambudvipa. So those islands are places like Brahmavarta, Aryavarta, Malayaketu, Bhadrasena, Kitaka. Like that, there are 9 islands of Bharatvarsha. So that's what it seems that. So in my humble understanding, this doesn't seem to be right here, because these are actually Varshas on Jambudvipa rather than islands of Bharatvarsha. Okay, in any case, the 10 of them, they became the rulers, and remaining 81 became the Brahmanas. So who remained? The 9 Navayogendras. So they will be described now. Nava bhavan mahabhaga munoyo hyarthas shamsinah shramana vatarasana atma vidya visharadaah kavir havir antarikshah prabuddha pippalayanah avirhotroth drumilash chamasah karabhajanah. So these wonderful Navayogendras, they are now being talked about. Vraja Krishna Prabhu, you may please read.
The 9 remaining sons of Rishabha were greatly fortunate sages who worked vigorously to spread knowledge of the absolute truth. They wandered about naked and were very well versed in spiritual science. Their names were Kavi, Avi, Antrish, Prabuddha, Piplayan, Abhirihotra, Dhrumila, Chamas, and Karbhajan.
Yeah, thank you. So rest of the 9, they became Mahabhaga. They were the most fortunate, most opulent, opulent in the sense of spiritual opulence. The word Mahabhaga can be often translated as not only as most fortunate, but also as most opulent by spiritual standards. The word bhaga comes as the root of that word bhag. So Mahabhaga is actually one who possesses the great bhagas. But what is that bhaga? That obviously opulence is here in this case is the opulence of bhakti, the opulence of vairagya, jnana. That's the opulence that they have. So these became actually greatly renowned, powerful sages. And they were Artha Shamsinaha. They were the propounders of Artha. They spread Artha, they did not spread Anartha. Artha Shamsinaha. Shamsinaha means those who praise or glorify, as in Prashamsa. Shamsati. Artham Shamsati Saha Artha Shamsi. One who propounds or glorifies the spiritual subject matter, that which is worthwhile, spiritual. Paramartha Shamsinaha. They were the glorifiers. They were the ones who propounded actually spiritual subject matter. And they were Shramana. They were the ones who actually, with great austerity, Shrama, they executed their spiritual life. Meaning they had done great tapasya, and that's how they had become so exalted sages now. Shramana. The word Shramana can also refer to someone who is a renounced sage. Shramana. It's a standard word which is in other paths like Jnana and Yoga. Shramana. Shramana means one who is a renounced sage. The aspect is also of doing a great Shrama, meaning this path is of the path of laboring for the spiritual standard. Renunciation is not for sleeping peacefully. It's not for just eating and sleeping. No, it's a path of doing great Shramana. Sridhar Swami explains like that. Vata Rasana. These were the people who actually only wore, you could say, air as their clothes. Basically, they were sadhus who did not wear any clothes also. They were completely avadhut, completely transcendental to bodily conception. So they roamed about naked. Atma Vidya Visharada, but they were very exalted. They were Visharad, they were the greatest exponents, most powerful exponents of Atma Vidya. What were their names? Kavihi, Havihi, Antarikshaha, Prabuddha, Pippalayana, Avirhotra, Drubila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. So 9 of them are very special devotees. So here, Prabhupada disciples also have enlisted those 9 questions that were asked to the Navayogendras, and each one answered one. So 9 of them together answered 9 questions. So we have talked about this before also. There are 9 questions in this conversation that's happening between Navayogendras and Nimi. And each one of the Navayogendras, starting with Kavi, they answer one question. So these are the questions. What is the highest good? Atyantika kshema. What are the religious principles, dharma, swabhav, achar of the devotees? Basically, characteristics of the devotees. One question is about Maya. What is the external energy of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord? Maya. How can one become disassociated from Maya? Tat taranani. Sridhar Swami has composed all these 9 questions in a verse. He says this verse shows these are the 9 questions. So tat taranani. Taran kaise ho sakta hai Maya se? How can one become disassociated from this Maya? What is the true identity of Brahman? Brahma. What are the 3 types of karma? What are the various pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord? Avatar. What is the aim or destination of one who is against the Supreme Lord and devoid of bhakti? So bhakta and abhakta, what is their gantavya? What do they achieve? And finally, yuga avatar, especially what are the 4 yuga avatars and what are their characteristics and what are the ways to worship them? All these questions, they were asked to these great 9 sages, and they answered these questions one by one, starting with in this chapter 2 questions. What is the highest good? Atyantikam kshemam. And the second is about the bhakti adhikaris. What are the various kinds of devotees that we speak about already. So we'll go ahead. Text 22. Ta ete bhagavat rupam vishvam sadatmakam atmanah vyatirekena pashyanto vyacharan mahim. So, Madan Sundar Prabhu, would you like to read, Prabhu?
These sages wandered the earth, seeing the entire universe, with all its gross and subtle objects, as a manifestation of the Supreme Lord and as non-different from the self.
Yeah. So all these sages, Vyacharan Mahim, they wandered all over the earth. How did they wander all over the earth? Sometimes there are travelers all over the earth, right? Explorers, and they write their traveling accounts. But what is the consciousness of those travelers? Oftentimes they are great, ambitious people who want all the resources for sense enjoyment. So these sages also traveled all over the world, but how did they travel all over the world? By seeing Pashyantaha, by seeing this world as Bhagavad Rupam, Sadasadatmakam, Atmanaha Vyatirekena. They saw that this universe is also a form of the Lord, meaning it's a form of Lord's material energy. And it is filled with sad and asadatmakam. It is filled with gross and subtle forms. But it's all the material energy of our Supreme Lord. Atmanaha vyatirekena. And they saw themselves also as non-different from the Supreme Lord, meaning as the energy of the Supreme Lord, as the Jiva Shakti of the Supreme Lord. So Atmanaha avyatirekena, they did not see the universe as separate from the Lord. And similarly, they saw themselves also as non-different from the Lord. Of course, in the sense of achintya bheda bheda. So wherever they went, they saw the entire universe as actually Lord's energy, and they never lost their connection to the Supreme Lord, although they traveled all over the world and saw the variety of the world. But they always saw it as connected to the Supreme Lord, everything. So that's the sense of Atmanaha avyatirekena. Prabhupada disciples. According to Sridhar Swami, it is clearly demonstrated in this and the following verse that the 9 saintly sages, sons of Rishabdev, known as the Navayogendras, were situated in the highest stage of spiritual perfections. called Paramhamsya Charitam. That's the next verse. So they were Paramhamsas actually. They were already situated at the highest bhakti level, Paramhamsas. They were pure devotees of the Lord. According to Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami, the words Atmanaha Avyatirekena indicate that the 9 sages saw the universe as being non-different from themselves, as well as non-different from the Supreme Lord Krishna. Atmanaha Vyatirekena means Paramatmanaha Avyatirekena. They saw him, they saw themselves and the universe as non-different from the Paramatma. So that non-difference is Tat Shakti Mayatvad. Tat Shakti meaning Lord Shakti. Tat Shakti. भगवान की शक्तिमय ये जगत है, इस प्रकार से उन्होंने देखा. Otherwise, sometimes seeing this section and Navayogendras and hearing these words like Atmanaha Avyatirekena, some of the commentators think like they saw, these personalities are somewhat like impersonalists. They saw themselves as non-different from the Supreme Lord. But no, that's not the idea, because you see later they will glorify Bhakti as the highest path, Bhagavad Dharma as the highest path, and not Jnana as the highest path. No. So these are great devotees of the Supreme Lord. Although it is stated here that the cosmic manifestation is non-different from both living entity and Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not think that either the living entity or the Supreme Lord is material. So Prabhupada disciples go on explaining that idea of Achintya Bhedavet to some extent. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has emphasized in this regard that absolute substance is one and is called Paramatma. When one has achieved but a partial vision of Paramatma, one's understanding is called Atma Darshan. And when even this partial understanding is lacking, it's called Anatma Darshan. So Atma Darshan, Atma means soul, Anatma means body. So those who don't have any spiritual understanding, that's Anatma Darshan. That is just, it's not a philosophy, it's a philosophy. It's a sophistry of fools, right? There are many materialistic philosophers, those who speak all big philosophy, but completely on the understanding that only matter exists. So there are Eastern, Western, both kinds of those kind of philosophers, like Charvak was like that. In the Western world also, there are many philosophers like that, like Immanuel Kant and many others, who only speak about these ideas of there only matter exists. So they are pure materialists. And then there is Atma Darshan, where one has this understanding of the positive aspect of bhakti this way. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati talks about these particular aspects, that even in the aspect of materialistic philosophy, people come up with so much of speculative knowledge and all, but it's all actually baseless. So Anatma Darshan, ignorance of the self, it may be expressed in a great sophisticated language, but still finally it is ignorance. It's a very, you can say, a sophisticated ignorance, isn't it? So Prabhupada was very actually wise. Prabhupada had this uncanny ability that no matter you present him some complex sophistry of words of these big philosophers, so-called philosophers, Prabhupada could very immediately understand what is the fault with this philosophy or what is lacking now. Some of you must have read that book, Beyond Illusion and Doubt. So you can see that in that book, there are a lot of philosophers where Prabhupada understands the fundamental problem with philosophy very quickly, like that. So dialectic spiritualism has a bigger version of that, Beyond Illusion, Doubt. So very complex ideas, but I used to get amazed at how Prabhupada immediately understands that what is the fundamental issue with this philosophy. This way. So, Anatma Darshan. It can be very impressive sometimes, but Bhaktisiddhanta says that finally this is ignorance, and these sages, what they are showing, that is the highest Atma Darshan, and not partial Atma Darshan like Brahman or Paramatma, but complete Bhagavad Darshan, this way. Yes, so Achintya Bheda Ved Tattva here in this way is, so they have written long purport, but actually the ideas are very known to us, being students of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Achintya Bheda Ved is what is being espoused so much. Text 23. Avyahatyeshtagатaya surasiddha sadhya gandharva yaksha nara kinnara naga lokan muktascharanti municharana bhutanatha vidyadhara dvijagavam bhuvanani kamam. Yes. Shuddha Chitta Prabhu, can you read, Prabhu?
The 9 Yogendras are liberated souls who travel freely to the planets of the demigods, the perfected mystics, the sadhyas, the heavenly musicians, the yakshas, the human beings, and minor demigods such as kinnaras and serpents. No mundane force can check their free movement, and exactly as they wish, they can travel as well as the worlds of the sages. The angels, the ghostly followers of the Lord Shiva, the Vidyadharas, the Brahmanas, and the cows.
Yeah. So these are the people, these sages are great sages who have complete access to all the realms of this world. They have all the siddhis to travel anywhere in the world, like Narad Muni, and these sages also. Avyahateshta gatayah. Avyahad, unimpeded. Ishtagati, meaning wherever they want to go. And it is unimpeded. They can go like that. So all these planets of Muni, Charanas, heavenly planets or lower planets or whatever it is, nobody can check their movement, because that's how they are. See, usually people check the movement of someone because people may become insecure. They may think like, oh, this person will come and do some damage or may take our resources or something. But personalities like Narad Muni, personalities like these sages and all, they were like so pure, and everyone around them, just by their mere presence, they knew that these are having purest of all heart. So just everyone just welcomed them anywhere. They could just walk in anywhere because of the sort of purity that they had. Like we know, Narad Muni also, right? He had access to Dwaraka's even inner chambers, because he was such a pure soul, Narad Muni, that everyone would just welcome him as a great dear devotee of the Lord. So one time then they arrived at Satra of this Nime Maharaj, this sacrificial ceremony of Nime Maharaj. So that is described now. So exactly the context at hand is being described now. Tay kada nime satram upajagmur yadrichaya vitayamanam rishibhir ajanabhe mahatmanaha. Okay, Krishna, okay, Sachindan Bhagavan Prabhu can read. Yeah.
Once in Ajanava, the former name of the earth, they came upon the sacrificial performance of the great soul Maharaj Nimi, which was being carried out under the direction of elevated sages.
Yeah, so they first once arrived in this Nime Maharaj's Satra, who was the king of Videha, and they went there Yadrichaya. It is mentioned that They just desired that they want to go there. There was no specific reason that they are independent in their desire. By their own desire, they went there, yadrichaya, like that. So the great sages, Atma Ramas, they actually have their own desire as the cause of bestowing mercy. Madhyam Adhikaris discriminate, but the Paramhamsas, they don't discriminate. Their mercy can fall on anyone. So someone may feel like, no, but this person was more qualified, that person was less qualified. No, that sort of consideration is not there with the Paramhamsas. They can just bestow mercy on anyone, yadrichaya, this way. Of course, after one receives mercy also, how that person takes the mercy is another question. But even for Bhakti Vedantas, when they arrived and they blessed Narada, Vishwanath Chakravarti clearly says that they blessed Narada out of their own desire. Narad Muni could hold that mercy because he had those qualities. But those qualities like Dante, Akridanake, Alpabhashini, they were not the reason why he got that mercy from the Bhakti Vedantas. No. The mercy was independent completely. But the reason he had those qualities, it helped him to retain that mercy and attract further mercy. Vishwanath Chakravarti writes like that. So for Paramhamsas, why do they give mercy? They don't have this aspect of Prem, Maitri, Krupopeksha. That's a Madhyamadhikari. Uttamadhikari Vaishnavas, they basically, when they bestow mercy, they just bestow as their heart is inspired. That complete independent nature of bhakti, especially is shown in the mercy shown by such great souls, Paramhamsas. So Yadrichaya, that it carries that sort of sense always, Yadrichaya. It's completely independent, without any reason, without any cause. So they went to that Satra, and we see that there Nimi Maharaj received so much mercy from them. So this was in Ajanab Varsha, which is old name of Bharat Varsha. And we see that, yeah, he went there where this sacrificial ceremony was happening. So I will stop at text 30 and then we can take questions. Okay. Text 25. Tan drishtva surya sankashan Mahabhagavatan nripa Yajamano agnayon vipra Sarva evopatasthire Sarva evopatasthire. Yes. Srinath Prabhu, you want to read, Prabhu?
My dear king, seeing those pure devotees of the Lord who rival the sun in brilliance, everyone present, the performer of the sacrifice, the brahmanas, and even the sacrificial fires stood in respect.
Yeah. Just a second. I just have to quickly reply this. Okay. Tan drishtva surya sankashan. So seeing those sages who were surya sankasha, they were practically looking like suns. They were so brilliant. They were so much effulgent. Surya sankasha. Sometimes in this world, that effulgence is not so much seen, no? Sometimes there are some people who may have a fair complexion. And people may say, oh, just see so much effulgent, like that. Actually, spiritual effulgence is a very different kind of effulgence. Whether one has a fair complexion or not, or red or black or blue or whatever. That kind of, yeah, effulgence, which is a very transcendental kind of effulgence. So that's why sometimes we hear comparison like Surya Sankasha, and you see, so much effulgent. Like even Vaman Dev arrived, when he arrived there in the sacrificial arena of Bali. So we see there that it was as if so many suns had simultaneously appeared. So much of effulgence, transcendental effulgence was coming. And these are Mahabhagavatas. They are Mahabhagavat devotees. So very naturally, as soon as they arrived there in that assembly, immediately Yajaman, meaning Maharaj Nimi, Agnayaha, all the kinds of Agnis, even the Agnis were there present, they were present there in the personified form. Like there are Agnis like Ahvaniya, Agni, or many kinds of Agnis are there. They were personified there. So it was a powerful sacrifice that was going on. And all the Brahmanas and all that, they automatically got up from their seat, right? So such was their brilliance, such was their august presence, that everybody got up like that, this way. So that's the power of these great devotees and all. Naturally, they will draw that respect out of a person's heart. That's the kind of purity and the kind of spiritual advancement that is there this way. We see that this culture of respect and all these days, right? It's all so much going away. So sometimes even with newer generations and all, some basic respect things and all also sometimes may be missing, right? Like we also travel and see people around, no? Oftentimes, yeah, that basic respect is lacking where, okay, some Vaishnava comes, then we offer obeisances. And if a Vaishnava is standing and if you are sitting, then if you have to talk to him, then we get up and talk. We also stand up and talk. So sometimes, I mean, just based on that respect, I see that as the generation is going ahead, oftentimes some junior, very, very younger devotee, maybe just sitting, and then some sannyasi or some senior devotee standing, and he's continuing to speak like that. So that sort of respect aspect of the respect is going. So on one hand, the respect is commanded, not demanded. But on the other hand, there is also the aspect of culture of Vaishnavas, culture of Vaishnavism, where we see that these ideas are actually taught and the culture is instilled, right? So one of the major discussion that happens in today's day and time is also this aspect of culture that has to be taught within bhakti. And sometimes devotees have some understanding that, okay, bhakti means only pure devotional service. So we have to talk about this respect and all that by, taking some other aspects like varnashrama or some karma or like that. As if within bhakti there is no aspect of culture and all that. So that's not a correct idea actually. We don't have to mix anything with bhakti to teach or instill people about respect and everything. It's just matter of understanding that along with bhakti, there are these aspects, which are the aspects of varnashrama, which go very well. Like, even in traditional times, even before Bhakti Vinod Thakur, along with the pure devotional service scriptures, Hari Bhakti Vilas was also taught. Hari Bhakti Vilas, which talks about even basic things like how to get up, how to brush your teeth, how to take bath, how to walk, how to talk, how to eat, how to take prasadam. Everything is spoken there. Such details are spoken. So this aspect of culture, it is very much part of bhakti also. Now, it's not that bhakti only talks about Shravanam Kirtanam aspect, and apart from that, there is nothing. So it is embedded within the aspect of bhakti like that. So in the name of bringing in varnashram element, we shouldn't do mixing of the process of bhakti by bringing some some sort of karma mishra or jnana mishra kind of bhakti. No. Only the cultural aspect that go well with bhakti, they have to be taught, and they should be taught separately, no doubt. Like I was talking right now about that aspect of respect. Sometimes you go in a place, very elderly Vaishnava who has probably spent 20 years, but even he may not know that when you take prasadam, you have to only use one hand. I have so many times seen in North India people, taking the chapati like this and eating like this. And when these are like very experienced people, in the sense in bhakti and all that. Why that aspect of culture probably is missing, some particular aspects of culture and all that. So, but in order to bring that culture, we don't have to bring in the mishran of jnana or karma. Vishwan Chakravarti speaks about this in third canto of Kapila Shiksha also there. So bhakti upyogi aspects of karma, they can be brought in. Aspects like, all these aspects of basic training and all that. So, maybe the context, why I got this context is only from that aspect of respect, that it was very natural for those to get up in respect, because they are also trained people, and plus the sages were like very great exalted people, and they just commanded that respect as soon as they arrived there. Everyone just stood in respect. Videhastanabhipretya Narayana Parayanan Pritah Sampujayan Chakre Asanasthan Yatharhatah. Okay. Madhav Kripa Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. King Videha understood that the 9 sages were exalted devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, overjoyed at their auspicious arrival, he offered them suitable sitting places and worshipped them in a proper way, just as one would worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, thank you. Videhastan Abhipretya. So Videha immediately recognized that these are the great 9 sages. He must have heard about them naturally from all the great devotees, and then by their presence in his heart, he understood that, oh, these are actually the great Navayogendras. They are Narayan Parayan. So being very much satisfied, Pritaha, he worshipped them very appropriately, as a pure devotee should be worshipped. Sam Pujayan Chakre, Samyak Pujayan Chakre. He very, very properly worshipped them, like Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra. Asanasthan Yatharhatah. By making them sit properly and washing their feet, and then offering them whatever Padhyam, Arghyam, and in all proper ways he worshipped them. The word Yatharhatah is significant here. According to Vishwan Chakravarti, the word Yatharhatah means Yathochitam, according to the proper etiquette. So Navayogendras, they were offered the worship by standard Vaishnava etiquette. So that aspect of etiquette that we were talking about. So on one hand, the teaching of pure devotional service should not be compromised. On other hand, we should also teach people the proper culture, etiquette, how to speak, how to talk, how to walk, how to sit properly, especially from childhood, I am saying. So if these both the aspects go together, no, so then aspect of complaints in Krishna consciousness movement about the aspect of cultural aspects, or those fundamental aspects of duty. Sometimes people feel like if we have to teach people about duty, then we have to talk to them on Nishkam Karma Yoga platform, and we should not talk to them on Bhakti Yoga platform. It's a bogus idea, actually, completely. Why like that? Bhakta cannot have the aspect of duty. Actually, what can be the greatest inspiration to follow etiquettes, or to follow the qualities like being dutiful or speak truth, what can be the greatest inspiration? Can there be a greater inspiration than the aspect of pure devotional service? So actually, it is a greatest inspiration to follow any sort of dharma, whether it is Laukika level or whether it is a slightly higher level. It's just that within Krishna consciousness, the preacher has to stress those aspects. If you see people where they don't have even basic understanding of we should speak truth and we should be honest, we should not steal Lord's money. So then we stress those qualities more. We don't have to preach them Nishkam Karma Yoga. We can continue to preach them about pure bhakti and how everything is Krishna's. So if we take it that, it's such an offense if we steal Krishna's money or like that way. So within bhakti, those qualities should be stressed then, because you see that sadhaka is not at that level. So let's first drill these qualities, and then we can talk about raganuga and higher aspects. But if we leave these aspects and speak about high funda, raganuga, this, that, prema and all that, but this person is struggling with basic qualities. So that's the expertise of the aspect of those who are trainers, those who are training this way. So that's how here also it is mentioned that this whole aspect of यथार्हतः अर्हता जैसे है उसी प्रकार से यथा अर्हता, this way. And that arhata, that qualification for Vaishnavas is sakshat dharitvena samasta shastra. Especially the pure devotees, they have to be worshipped like sakshat Hari. They are worshipped as if one is actually getting the audience with Supreme Lord. So especially Mahats, yeah, they are treated with the respect, that kind of respect that they deserve. Very nice statement here Prabhupada disciples are writing. Although impersonalist philosophers claim that every living entity is equal to God, they callously step over the heads of their so-called spiritual masters and freely speculate on the nature of the absolute, giving their own whimsical opinions in defiance of the impersonal whims of their so-called gurus. So this is quite a characteristic in Mayavadi line, where the disciple goes against the opinion of Guru. Historically also, if you see the Advait schools historically, the students goes against the opinion of masters. It is very common there. The idea, certain idea of Guru is there, the student will differ from that idea and say that this is actually not correct explanation. This is the correct explanation in that particular manner. Why is that? Because yes, basically this whole aspect of accepting Guru as representative of the Supreme Lord and one's advancement depending on pleasing that Guru, this idea is only not there. No. Ena kena prakarena, they get the knowledge from the Guru and some sort of sambandha gyan comes in, then they feel like that Guru's role is over now. I got the sambandha gyan, finished. Now what does he have to do? They may externally keep that respect, but they go very much against the ideas. If you see the way many of the Mayavadis have written their books, it's like that only typically. They themselves come with a certain explanation, which the Gurus have not spoken, or Gurus have probably spoken opposite of it this way. So from that respect aspect of respect, this is in exactly defines to that. A contrast is being shown. Paths like bhakti have that aspect of respect, and while other paths oftentimes some cultural aspects may be there, but we see ideological difference is very strongly pronounced. It is there and it is spoken also very clearly this way. So that's not how Vaishnava Sampradayas will speak, right? King Nimi was a Vaishnava, and therefore he worshipped the great sages with the same respect which would with which he would worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yatharhata, as shown by the word Yatharhata. This way. Although impersonalists falsely claim that every living entity is equal to God, they cannot properly respect any living being because of the original offense at the lotus feet of Supreme Personality. Their so-called worship, even of their own gurus, is ultimately self-serving and opportunistic. All right, so that idea is spoken. Tan rochamanan swarucha brahmaputropam nava papracha parama pritah prashrayavanato nripah. Praveen Prabhu, you want to read?
Overwhelmed by transcendental joy, the king humbly bowed his head and then proceeded to question the 9 sages. These 9 great souls glowed with their own effulgence and thus appeared equal to the 4 Kumaras, the sons of Lord Brahma.
Yeah. Rochamana and Swarucha, they were like dazzling, glowing with their own effulgence. Swarucha, it was effulgence coming from their body. Because they did not wear any ornaments, right? They didn't wear any clothes also. Forget about ornaments. So that Dipti, that Prakash, that is not coming from their ornaments or from their clothes or anything. No, it was the effulgence coming from their own personality, body. Brahmaputropaman, and they were like Brahmaputras actually. Brahmaputras meaning 4 Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, all of them. So they literally appeared like those 4 Kumaras. So Neme Maharaj became extremely pleased that they have arrived here. What a fortune that these great sages have arrived in my assembly, on this sacrificial assembly. Paramapritaha. And being extremely humbled, Prashraya Vanato Nripaha. He became, Prashraya is actually a very, very genuine humility. So by that genuine humility, he bowed down and he spoke these words. Srila Swami has pointed out that Swarucha indicates that Nava-Yogendras glowed from their own spiritual effulgence and not due to their ornaments or any other cause. Swarucha. Srila Swami has also pointed out that the word Brahmaputropaman, meaning equal to the sons of Brahma, indicates that the Nava-Yogendras were on the same spiritual platform as the 4 exalted brothers. Just as Maharaj Pruthu received Kumaras with great love and reverence, King Nimi is also said to have received the sons of Rishabdev with great love and reverence. Receiving exalted Vaishnavas with love and reverence is standard spiritual etiquette for those who desire progress and happiness in life. So, this aspect of especially Mahats, exalted Vaishnavas, so we have to make sure that we receive them with proper love and reverence, like that. Otherwise, it becomes offensive. And that aspect of offense to the Mahats, that's one of the causes, yes, as we know that, of problems in the spiritual life. So that even in the 3rd canto, there is this section of Prani Samman, 3rd canto, 29th chapter, this section where Kapil Dev speaks also about, in general, Vaishnava should learn to respect all the living beings. And he says, why should you respect all the living beings? Because if you don't develop respectful attitude towards all the living beings, it's very likely that the disrespectful attitude will percolate in sadhaka's life, and then one will end up offending a mahat, which causes a doom in the spiritual life. It becomes disaster in spiritual life. So towards other living beings, it may be, if somebody does something disrespectful, so it may just turn into a sin, like if you offend a Brahmana or like that. Or maybe other living beings also, somebody hurt some animals and all, it would be a sin. But when it comes to mahats and all, it becomes a great aparad, and then that is a big problem in the spiritual life. So in order to drive home the point of cultivating overall respectful attitude, so Rishabh Maharaj, Kapil Muni, he speaks there about this aspect of respecting every individual. So you know that there he speaks that if we are disrespectful or we disregard other living beings and then are doing deity worship, it's like offering oblations in the ashes. So that section very nicely it summarizes this aspect. On one hand, we want to make sure that we don't disrespect anyone. We recognize Lord's presence in all the living beings. And Jiva Goswami, on other hand, he also gives a caution that that respect should not become like Bharat Maharaj. That compassion should not turn like Bharat Maharaj, where that compassion took away the focus from the spiritual life only. So, seeing the whole world in connection with the Supreme Lord means that Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbha that you will not lose focus on your spiritual life. That is seeing everyone in connection with the Supreme Lord and respecting accordingly. If in the name of respecting every living being and being compassionate to all the living beings, if we lose the focus on our own sadhana, like it happened in the case of Bharat Maharaj, then actually it is not seeing the whole world in connection with the Supreme Lord. So that compassion also is then sort of undesirable or false compassion. At least it is a lower level of compassion, because one has to be compassionate on himself also, isn't it? So this both the aspect. One hand, we can't disregard the living beings. We are just happy in our own spiritual life without anything to do with the world. No aspect of compassion. So that's why preachers are very much glorified, because they are sharing the compassion with the whole world. So that's a very good platform of practicing bhakti. No upeksha or no disregard for the other living beings. And another extreme is where you want to show so much compassion to the jivas that your own spiritual life is going for a toss. So neither of the things is desirable. And that's how Jiva Goswami concludes the section of Prani Sammana, respecting all the living beings. Okay. How many verses more? Okay, let's complete this. 12:15 we will pause. Shri Videha Uvacha Manne Bhagavata Sakshat Parshadanvo Madhudvishah Vishnor Bhutani Lokanam Pavanaya Charantihi. What happened? Okay, Arjuneshwar Prabhu, please read. Arjuneshwar Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. King Videha said, I think that you must be direct associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is famous as the enemy of the demon Madhu. Indeed, the pure devotees of the Lord Vishnu wander throughout the universe, not for their personal selfish interest, but to purify all the conditioned souls.
Yeah. So Shri Videha Uvacha. So after the sages were seated comfortably and they were offered the necessary welcome, they must have been taken care nicely. And then after that, Shri Videha asked them that, oh great sages, aham manne, actually I consider that you are directly the Parshadas, the associates of the Supreme Lord, Madhodvish. So I consider that you are Parshadas of Madhodvish Bhagwan, Shri Krishna. So if we are Parshadas, then what are we doing here? We should be with Lord Madhodvisha, right? We should be with Supreme Lord. No, no, no. It's your nature that it's the nature of great Paramhamsas that they travel all over the world. Charanti. For what? Vishnor Bhutani Lokanam Pavanaya Charantihi. It's your nature that actually, in order to purify the. Okay, Arjaneshwar Prabhu, please keep yourself on mute. Yeah. Vishnor Bhutani Lokanam Pavanaya Charantihi. So he's saying that it's the nature of actually the devotees of the Lord that they, in order to purify the world, they wander around. They go everywhere to actually save the devotees. That's their nature, right? Bhavat Vida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhu. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthanya Swantasthena Gadabhrata. Even Yudhishthir Maharaj says the same thing when Vidura arrived there after a long time, after doing Tirtha Yatra. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. You just purify every place. What to speak of normal places, even the Tirthas. Like that. I think even Vidura says that to Maitreya. Yeah, he says that Anugrahayeha Charanti Nunam. Actually, Vaishnava Bhutani Bhavyani, Vishnu, he says also that yes, the devotees of the Lord, they just travel for doing Anugraha. So same idea here also. Pavanaya Charantihi. Why are you here? Because you want to purify actually the living beings. You want to purify their heart from the desires of sense enjoyment. One may ask how such transcendental living beings as associates of Lord Vishnu could be seen within the material world. Therefore, it is stated here, Pavanaya Charantihi. The desire is to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada's udaharana, Prabhupada's example of this governor coming to prison house to actually benefit the prisoners. In the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the mercy of associates of Lord Vishnu has been described. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that the associates of Lord Vishnu are as merciful as the Lord himself. Even though the ignorant members of human society are not interested in approaching the servants of Vishnu, the devotees of the Lord, they are there to liberate the conditioned souls, right? So sometimes conditioned souls don't want, especially all the more in Kali Yuga, the conditioned souls don't want interference of great devotees in their life, but then still the devotee preachers, they would reach out to such souls and they would want them to reform their lives and connect them to Krishna. So that's the nature of devotees who are acting on behalf of the Lord. They would want to forcibly interfere so that the diseased person can be treated, the diseased person. All right, especially someone is diseased, then the person may not, first of all, know about the disease, and even if someone knows, then sometimes they don't want to work on the treatment. So it's the merciful doctor that who intervenes and wants to cure the person, make him happy by curing that disease. So that's the nature of devotees, Vishnu Bhutani. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam kshanabhangurah tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshanam. Okay. Sanatan Dharma Prabhu, you want to read? All right. Someone else. Kamlakant Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. For the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Durlabho manusho deho. The human form of life is very, very rare, right? Very clear. Dehinam kshanabhangurah. Dehinam, amongst the embodied forms, amongst those beings who have the body, the Manusha Deha is very, very rare. Why? Kshana Bhanguraha. It is actually a very temporary, usually there are other living beings who have even greater lifespans than the Manushas, right? Like so many other living beings. There are also those who have less lifespan. But yes, many living beings, and especially the body is also considered very delicate. Human body is very delicate, right? Human body won't be able to survive some strong cold or deadly summer or like that. But there are animals which can survive. Bear, human beings probably won't be able to survive in such harsh conditions. So human body is considered to be delicate actually. The mind and the intelligence is very, very developed, but the body per se is actually quite weak, right? A human being, because of developed mind, a human being can overpower even strong animals like lions or tigers or bears or something like that, because of the intelligence. If it was only a fight of strength, then the humans, Kshanabhangura, they are very delicately formed actually, the body, which is of humans. So that's the point. Human body is very rare, but it is also very delicate and it's very temporary. It can be taken away any moment, right? But rarer than that, even rarer is Tatrapi Durlabham Manne Vaikuntha Priyadarshanam. Even rarer than having a human form of life is in that human form of life, we have darshan of pure devotees. That's a very rare thing. After all, so many people have human forms, right? But how many of them get to see the pure devotee, get to meet a pure devotee? So here, Demi Maharaj is very genuinely expressing that emotion that yes, actually, this moment that you have arrived here, this is the rarest moment where I get to see a pure devotee, Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam. Those devotees who are dear to Vaikuntha, dear to the Lord, who is known as Vaikuntha. Or for whom the devotees, Vaikuntha Priya, that word I am explaining. So Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam. So for whom Lord Vaikuntha is the dearmost object. That can also be the other meaning, like that. वैकुंठस्य प्रिय, जो भगवान वैकुंठ को प्रिय है वो भक्तों का दर्शन, या जिनको भगवान वैकुंठ प्रिय है उनका दर्शन, वैकुंठ प्रिय दर्शन. So that is the rarest thing actually, even rarer than the human form of life. According to some wishful thinkers, a living entity in the human form of life will never be degraded to a lower form. Some people feel like that once you get human form of life, then it will never degrade. All different ideas, right, about human beings form. Sometimes people think they get a human form only once and there they have to make a choice. So all these wishful thinkings, it is a fact that according to our activities at the present will be elevated or degraded by the laws of God. So they quote life comes from life, where Prabhupada defeats such ideas. The highly evolved human brain is a gift given by God so that we may use our intelligence to distinguish between which is eternal and that which is temporary. So that's the special prerogative. But even greater prerogative is those who have accepted the Supreme Lord and His abode as the ultimate goal of life are called Vaikuntha Priya. And their darshanam, their association, that's considered to be the rarest thing. Personal association of such learned transcendentalists is certainly the perfection. Especially the personal association. Darshanam here, it's showing that aspect of getting the personal association of such people and opportunity to hear from them. So, no doubt there is opportunity to hear from them even by Vani. But Shastras always still glorify this aspect of getting personal Sangha of a Mahat. No doubt it's extremely powerful. It can have a lifelong impact actually. Just a little bit amount spent also with amount of time spent with a pure devotee can have lifelong inspiration in a person's life. That's why the Sangha is very much glorified in that aspect, this way. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati suggests that we consider the following verse. This famous, the Dehamadyam Sulabham Sudurlabham Lavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadharam Mayanukulena Nabhasvateritam Puman Bhavabdim Nataretsa Atmaha. So this famous verse of how human form of life, body is compared to a great boat, and Guru is the Karnadhar, captain, and the Vedic scriptures are the very favorable breezes. In spite of this, if the person does not cross over the material world, then Atmaha, such a person should be considered to be a killer of the self. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the eternal servants of Supreme Lord, being controlled by powerful feelings of mercy, they descend into the world as Vaishnavas to deliver the conditioned souls. So these are actually eternal servants oftentimes. And they come here and they come to deliver the conditioned souls. So that same idea that they should not be considered to be like any other mundane beings. We see some empowered souls like Srila Prabhupada or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. They're actually eternal servants of Lord who are appearing to deliver the people. All right, so Atha Atyantikam Kshemam Prachamo Bhavato Nagha Samsaresmin Kshanardhopi Satsanga Shevadhirnanam. So we'll pause with this verse. Prahlad Pran Prabhu, you want to read the translation?
Yes, sir. Therefore, O completely sinless ones, I ask you to kindly tell me what the supreme good is. After all, even a half moment's of association with pure devotee within this world of birth and death is a priceless treasure for any man.
Yeah, so they ask this. Ataha Pruchamaha. That's why we ask you. What is that we ask? Atyantikam Kshemam. Please tell us what is the supreme fortune or supreme benefit, supreme good. Kshema. This is a question similar to the sages' question in the first chapter of first canto. There also, Pumsam ekantatah shreyaha. Tvam shamsitum arhasi. Ekantatah shreya. Atyantika kshema. Exactly same question. Supreme benefit, supreme good. And then there also in the first canto, another question was, Atha sadhutra yatsaram samudratya manishaya bruhi bhadraya bhutanam. Yatsaram, what's the essence of scripture? That has a sense of what's the essence of the methods of the perfection. That's a question about sadhana bhakti actually. While ekantata shreya is a question of perfection, it's about prema bhakti. Prema bhakti and sadhana bhakti. Two questions are asked there. What's the highest goal and what is the highest process? And that both the questions are answered in one verse, which is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radhoksh. That's the verse which answers both these questions. Sages' question. So here also exactly same pattern is there. He asks about Atyantika Kshema and he also asks about Bhagavad Dharma. So Bhagavad Dharma is the sadhana bhakti's practice, while Atyantik Kshema is prema, is love of Godhead. Of course, one can say that it's the same process. Sadhana bhakti is like raw mango. Prema bhakti is like ripe mango. Yes, so in that way, It's actually one question only. Yeah, but still, yes, when we talk about Atyantika Kshema, that's actually prema. And Bhagavad Dharma is the practices of bhakti process, which will be typically Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and all that. So he says, I am asking you this, my Lord, my dear devotees, Atyantika Kshema, the greatest good. Because in this world, even for a half a moment, if one gets satsanga, that's the greatest treasure one can have. क्षणार्धोपि सत्संग, आधे क्षण का सत्संग भी मनुष्यों के लिए शेवधि बन जाता है. शेवधि, शेवधि is the very great treasure, especially a treasure which can fulfill all your needs. That's called शेवधि. सर्वार्थान संपादयितुम, सारे आपके प्रयोजन सिद्ध कर देगा, इस टाइप का जो ट्रेजर है, खजाना है, that is called as Shevadhi. So similarly, the satsanga is said to be that Shevadhi which can just completely fulfill all your needs. This is not so much from the material needs aspect, but basically it will give the greatest fulfillment. That's the point. Satsanga, well, sadhus can be desire fulfilling trees, but yeah, the most important thing is they connect you to Krishna, and who is the highest summit of all fulfillment. So in that sense, Shevadhir Nranam, this way. So Vishwan Chakravarti in this particular verse gives an interesting comment, that he says that as soon as the sages are there, they have arrived and they are welcomed and made to sit, then immediately the king is making an inquiry about supreme good. All these basic greetings like how are you, and how are you doing, and is your health okay, and all that. This sort of inquiries are not made, at least apparently it seems that they are not made here. So Vishwan Chakravarti takes this point and says, actually, it's inappropriate to ask sadhus, like such great mahats, that, okay, are you well, or something like that. So he says that it's appropriate that they are directly asked this question, like Atyantika Kshema and all that. Especially here for these such an exalted Paramhamsas like this sadhus, right? Sometimes when sannyasi comes and all, out of just formal etiquette or concern, we may ask that, okay, Maharaj, was your journey good? Did you face any kind of trouble? Are you okay? So some this sort of things, it's okay. But basically, these great souls are interested in some kind of Krishna conscious question that we may ask. If we ask about something Krishna conscious, once they are received nicely and all that's what would give a great joy. So Vishwan Chakravarti says here that Maharaj, without any further delay, he immediately asked question about Atyantikam Kshemam. And then he says, someone may say, well, why immediately ask about this? We have good time to talk about these things. So he says, no, we never know. That satsanga may be there only for half a moment. The sage may desire to leave immediately. So Maharaj Nimi also felt these great Navayogandras have arrived, but I don't know how much time they want to stay. What if they decide to go within few moments? Then I lose the opportunity to inquire from them. So they are independent sages. They can leave anytime. So if I have got this opportunity, why wait? And let me immediately submit my inquiry and hear from them to purify my heart. Just like somebody gets a great treasure, then does one wait thinking that, oh, okay, I have the treasure, so there's good time. Tomorrow we may think about how we want to utilize this treasure. No, somebody eagerly looking forward for treasure may want to immediately decide, okay, how we want to use this treasure, and one may be excited to see and utilize that treasure. So similarly, great Vaishnavas, they are being compared to here, that treasure. So one is excited to submit one's inquiries for the sake of getting enlightenment from them. And why wait? So similarly, here the Maharaj Nime is not waiting. Immediately he wants to hear from them and thus be blessed, be enlightened. So there's no sort of selfishness in that. It's just the understanding of their greatness, that how great these sages are, and also their rarity, that these are very rare souls. Let me purify my soul by hearing from these wonderful souls, because then it will be a probably lifelong treasure for me, and it will give me a great strength. So that's how one looks also at the association of pure devotees and mahats. One has that eagerness. Of course, it's easy to speak this thing, oftentimes difficult to follow in our own lives. But yeah, that's how Shastra is teaching, that these are very valuable opportunities if we get to associate with mahats. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, normal etiquette would dictate that a host immediately ask a guest who has arrived about his well-being, guest's well-being. But such an inquiry is unsuitable to place before self-satisfied, what is that? One sec. Self-satisfied devotees of the Lord. आत्माराम लोगों को क्या पूछेंगे आपकी, how are you doing? They are the bestowers of the well-being themselves. It would be useless to ask the sages about their business affairs, because their only business is achievement of the supreme goal of life. So that's their characteristic. So that's why he immediately inquired about Atyantikam Kshemam. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Anagha here means in your presence, even I am becoming sinless. Immediately I am seeing the effect in my heart that the sin is going away, the sinful desires are going away. And that's why you are Anagha. They are sinless, that is a straightforward meaning. That's not the meaning that Vishwanath Chakravarti gives. He says, in your presence, you are making me sinless. So you are the ones who would drive away the sins of other souls. That is Anagha. You make the sin disappear, even in others. What to speak of you? You are completely free from all sin, and you are the purest beings. The king should not have been so impatient to inquire. Perhaps the king should have waited. Such a hypothetical objection is answered by the word kshanardhopi. So, lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi. Bhaktisiddhanta says there are different varieties of mercy. There are humanitarians, altruists, social reformers, karmis, jnanis, bhaktas. So best are the bhaktas. All right. So let's pause here and take a break for 15 minutes. But just before that, are there any questions that you want to ask? Or okay, maybe let's do one thing. Let's take a pause for 15 minutes, and then once we begin, I will take some questions. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we meet exactly after 15 minutes, 12:45. Yes. Anyone has any questions or comments on what we discussed?
I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Here, before mentioning the Navayogendras, in one verse only, the genealogy is mentioned, although the same genealogy is mentioned in 5th canto also. So till now I couldn't, many times till 11th canto it is, this genealogy is mentioned, but I have not understood, Prabhuji, what is the purpose, why it, what we can learn from this genealogy.
See,
That is not
basically,
clear. Yes.
yeah, see, basically, it's told for the purpose of, which amazing the amazing personalities that he belongs to. And primarily it is spoken to tell that they are Rishabdev's sons. In the beginning, it is mentioned that to tell that these Navayogendras are sons of actually none other than the great Rishabdev, who is Supreme Lord himself. So for that purpose, it is being told. So then, how do you come to them in the sense, okay, who is whose son, who is whose son? So you begin with Swayambhu Manu, who is, the Manu, the progenitor of mankind, Prajapati Manu. And then Manu's son is Priyavrat, Priyavrata's son is Agnidra, Agnidra's son is Nabhi, whose son was the great Rishabha. And these are actually sons of the Supreme Lord themselves. So that's the main highlight of description over there. So they're glorious. Usually when you want to speak about something, then the commentators have used the word sanvaya. Sanvaya. So sanvaya means anvaya here means vamsha vistar, the kind of vamsha that they belong to. So even the Navayogendras are talked about Sanvaya, which means that you see these are the great personalities they are connected to. They are the ones who received the instructions from none other than the Supreme Lord, Rishabha. Rishabha instructed all the 100 sons. And here are these personalities who are being instructed by Rishabdev. They became the Paramhamsas. So for that purpose, that's why.
Only one question. Okay.
Yeah.
Solve. Anand Vijayapu, you want to ask something?
No.
Roji, this question, we are discussing a lot on the respect here. So, when we see or when we come in devotional service in beginning, the respect is very genuine, or it comes from the heart, and we remain very simple. But as we grow, we see that difference of opinion, and so many managerial things happening, even basically in the institute. So like here, the Nimi Maharaj is respecting Navayogendras. He might not have dealt with these Navayogendras, and they might not have entered in his life in other ways, like making an institute or doing something with him. And especially they are already pure devotees. But when we see some devotees, means they are senior devotees only or junior, whatever, means everybody comes to and deal with a certain thing. Then the respect part sometimes goes up and down. And then we also understand certain things, we have to do seva in this way, and then they also say that do seva in this way. Sometimes many conflicts also happen in Vaishnava society also. So this becomes not genuine respect. Then later it becomes like formal respect. You have to learn from Shastra and do something actually. How to understand this? Because all sadhus, they want to respect the great sadhus and other Vaishnavas. But this becomes very difficult actually. Otherwise, one leaves off everything and just do sadhana, and that is also not recommended. That is also not recommended as a path, or we cannot follow that path. So disrespect somehow it comes pricks in our life actually. How to deal with this?
Yeah, no doubt. Yes, bro. So, yeah, when we talk about respect aspect, no doubt, Prabhu, there is yatharhataha, right? As it behooves, as one should be offered respect accordingly, this way. So amongst Vaishnavas, especially when we talk about aspect of awarding respect, so there is one particular level at which we see that, okay, here is a devotee of Krishna practicing bhakti, and so there is certain amount of respect we want to offer irrespective of difference of opinion or irrespective of any sort of maybe sometimes even the clashes or some ideas which we are very much fighting on that way. So a certain minimum level of respect on that particular aspect, following those etiquettes, offering obeisances, or not speaking in a way which is unnecessarily agitating or ridiculing a person or like that. No, that remains. There could be some specific forums in which where we have a battle of ideologies and where we want to speak strongly because we differ on certain opinions and all. So as a devotee, we want to keep it only to those forums, and we are off those forums, we come out of those forums, then we just want to deal with that devotee as a devotee who is a Vaishnava, who is also practicing. So I understand it is not that easy because we will carry those ideas naturally when we come out or we are dealing in other places also. And so that's why, see, aspects like we have to deal with devotees not only for management, but we also should have interactions where we are practicing limbs of bhakti with those devotees. Like there is Shravanam, there is Archanam, there is Kirtanam, and all that is happening also. Oftentimes we have only management dealings where we are at loggerheads as for the ideologies that, and then we don't have any other, like we don't have any Shravanam with them, Kirtanam with them, or anything of that sort. So if it is like that, then usually that respect aspect, then it may happen that it slowly starts percolating in our all the dealings this way. So I do understand, Prabhu, it's not easy, it's not a struggle, it's certainly a struggle, especially for those who are in management. They may have fierce management meetings, and then they come out and then they have to also make sure that they have a good Vaishnav dealing with each other this way. So it's a challenge. But then aspect is that that's how, if we can have this aspect of Shravanam, Kirtanam, a pure glorification of Krishna, there nobody has any difference of ideology. If there is pure Kirtanam coming together and pure glorification of Krishna, वहाँ पे क्या differences आने वाला है किसी को? There everyone is very happy to glorify Krishna. So aspects like Kirtanam, aspects like Shravanam, aspects like where basically we want to serve the Lord together congregationally. So those are the places where we can forget about these ideological differences and all that. So it's a training to the mind to see a person and his certain stand on an issue separate from the core of the person, that he is also willing, he wants to serve the Lord. He is taking so many sacrifices for the sake of the Lord. So we see that aspect, that yes, this person is a genuine Vaishnava. On certain aspects, he may have differences, and on that we can also be firm that no, if we don't agree to that principles, we can be like that, but still we can continue to respect in that manner. So yeah, as I would say, yatharhatah, respect means it's always as it behoves, right? Even for simple, like even that section Kapila Muni where he speaks about respect. So Prabhupada explains that we have to respect all the living beings. What does that mean? You respect a tiger by keeping away from him. And you respect a cow probably by, going, cuddling the cow, or, yeah, you can go close to the cow, but you don't go close to a tiger. And that's respect, actually. You are respecting both the living entities. So now, coming to Vaishnavas, what we can say is that as far as the aspect of some fundamental basic respect, like offering obeisances and, calling someone as Prabhu or Maharaj or like that, there's just no question of failing in those aspects of respect. But this particular aspect where we come together in common desire of glorifying Krishna and all that. So there we don't want to bring in the ideological differences so much. So if we can keep it to appropriate forums, that will help a lot actually. Usually we tend to bring it from those forums and just percolate it everywhere, allow it to get percolated everywhere. So we just stamp devotees, oh, this is this, like that. So we don't have to stamp actually. It's a training for all of us. Stamping devotees is not good.
Only I want to add here this point that we see like Srila Prabhupada when he was preaching as ISKCON, he created a moment ISKCON. Then he saw that his god brothers, he said that they were neophyte, and they were many times they were also equivalent to him, like equally respectable in outside in Gaudiya Math. But Prabhupada used to say they are neophyte brothers, they are trying to make me feel discouraged or whatever. Means they want to say, tell that I am simply a businessman who opened this institute. This is one idea. Second idea, then when we discuss about other sampradaya, then we discuss how they disrespect that, okay, Krishna is not a totally the topmost personality. So we find this respect not only in the beginning level, okay, as a neophyte, we respect sentimentally, but even in grown up stage also, this is a lot to do with the knowledge, a lot to do with the philosophy integration. Who is who is who? Means these all things are too many things, factors are involving in that. Means it's not a simplistic respect, I am saying. Like how to understand Srila Prabhupada sometimes calling a rascal, sometimes like he was loving, but at the same time he was like a bold, like Madhvacharya, so much bold also. And some so it's a very different various colors are seen in this aspect of respect. They when it comes to preaching, they are very bold, and even to their god brothers they are saying that he is like that, and sometimes they are very humble also, it is seen. So it's a very colored way. But when we see Goswamis, when we hear like Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, only one kind of face we see. Means they are always like a very simple people like them, Mahabhagavad. But when we see the after Goswamis, our Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, here we see great colors. मतलब बहुत color दिखने को मिलता है. So this I wanted you to understand.
Yeah, no, that's true, bro. Like especially you compared with Goswami era and era of preachers like Bhakti Vedanata Thakur or Bhakti Siddhanta. So, these are the beings who are trying to preach Krishna consciousness in the world, no? So when you have this aspect of preaching Krishna consciousness, Prabhu, then so many factors come in where you may have to safeguard other people from some false ideas. So that is the time when you have to speak strongly against someone. So as long as we don't bear the grudge against someone, individual person, we are not envious or we don't want to destroy an individual person, but we are only having issue with the ideology that the person speaks. And from that angle, if we can speak always, even if somebody is somebody is speaking some wrong things, wrong ideology, wrong philosophy. So we can address on that. We don't have to judge that person so much. You can say that, well, this person is speaking, what he is speaking, it's certainly a problematic. He may be a saint or may not be a saint. We can't judge that. So we keep that respectful attitude. Problem is like we usually get into stamping mode only, like, oh, this is this, that is a Mayavadi, that is a Karmi, that's a Jnani, or this is like. But sometimes we see that there may be some particular circumstances in which certain ideology is spoken. So keeping the ideological or philosophical aspect from separate from the person's saintly kind of demeanor and all, that is a good way, because sometimes we really can't be very sure about someone, but we can be sure about what are those words say, what's the ideology being propagated into those words. So Prabhupada spoke very heavily against his god brothers in order to protect his disciples or in order to protect some other persons who were being misled by that propaganda. But you see, the way he dealt with them was always very respectful, no? His dealings with Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, or even Shripad Narayan Maharaj, or all his other god brothers, Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. So in his dealings, many of Prabhupada disciples tell that he was very, very sweet and gentle, but he would safeguard about a certain ideology that they have. So there are forums and there are perspectives when we want to safeguard, then we may speak something very strongly. So it's not duplicitous exactly. It is yatharhataha. It is respect as it behooves, depending on the situations and all. So it's not a stereotype thing, as you said. Respect may not be a stereotypical thing. But one thing we want to be very sure is, on an individual level, we don't have problem with people. We don't feel inimical towards a particular individual. We don't develop that kind of envy or inimical kind of nature towards anyone. We only have problem with some diseased mentality that is there. If that is gone, we are very happy to appreciate the person and appreciate whatever contributions are there. So respect is certainly, Prabhu, depending on who is that person, it's a different thing. Like living entities are respected to a certain level, sadhak Vaishnavas are respected to a certain level, pure devotees are respected to a certain level, outside Sampradaya people at one level. Like Prabhupada gave example of a married woman. So she has respect for all the men, but then depending on how they are related to her, right? Her husband or her brother-in-laws or her father-in-law, and then outside people, and then common men in the public. She will have different respect towards each one of them. It's quite natural that way. So similarly, there is Sajatiya, Ashay, Snigdha, Swatovar, within association also. There is some sort of discrimination certainly is being provided, no? But a fundamental respect like Vaishnava. So you may be respectful, but you may not accept the ideas like with complete submission. Not necessarily. Depends on what person is speaking and all. If you feel that idea is not Shastric, then we can have discussion. And in spite of discussion, if the solution is not coming out or like that, so there will be individuals who can hold on to a certain aspect of ideology, and we can be firm on that, no problem. We can have an independent opinion. It's not that respecting means just yes man, yes, everything is fine. No. Vaishnavas are individuals. They sometimes may have also individual moods and perspectives on things. As long as they are within the purview of bhakti, they are shastric and not non-bona fide. So we can appreciate that individuality, no problem. Okay, I hope it makes some sense.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Otherwise, we go ahead. Madhuseva Prabhu, okay, I think that's not a question.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful explanation you told. And Arjuna Shri also thank you for a very nice question, practical question, not in just philosophical.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay, let's go ahead. Actually, for this section, I could prepare on some verses, but I could not prepare. So I couldn't show the PPT. I just was not having much time. So then I will make sure that, I'm explaining the words based on commentaries also. And some places, if I need to show commentary, I'll show. Okay. So let's go ahead. Now the answers are coming. Okay, there is text 31. One more was spoken by Nimi, and then the answers begin. Dharman bhagavatan bruta yadina shrutaye kshamam yai prasannah prapannaya dasyatmatmanam apyajah. Mother Seva Prabhu, you want to read?
Please speak about how one engages in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. If you consider me capable of properly hearing these topics, when a living entity offers living service to the Supreme Lord, the Lord is immediately satisfied, and in return, he will give even his own self to the surrendered soul.
Yeah, thank you. So they are saying Dharman Bhagavatan Bruta. I mean, this king is saying, Videha Raj Nime is saying, Nime is saying that please also speak the Bhagavad Dharmas. So you see, he asked about Atyantika Kshema and he asked about Bhagavad Dharma. So internally, it means that he is actually aware that Bhagavad Dharmas lead to Atyantika Kshema. One of the acharyas, he points that out. Jiva Goswami points out. He is asking Atyantika Kshema, and then he is asking also, please speak about Bhagavad Dharma. So he is aware of this fact that actually only Bhagavad Dharmas lead to Atyantika Kshema. It's not that Nishkam Karma Yoga leads to Atyantika Kshema, or it's not that the path of Jnana leads to Atyantika Kshema. Path of yoga, it doesn't lead to Atyantik Kshema. So Atyantika Kshema is the highest good. It is actually Prema Bhakti. So we know that Prema Bhakti can only be attained by Sadhana Bhakti, by practicing the path of Kevala Bhakti. So that's why he is asking Bhagavata Dharma Bruta. And that too, Yadi Naha Shrutaye Kshamam. If you think that we are capable of hearing it. So for King Nimi to ask such questions, then acharyas say that it means that the king has been regularly hearing about, he must have been regularly hearing about spiritual subject matters, even for ask him to such questions. So he may perform some sacrifices, like these sort of sacrifices for the sake of bringing welfare and auspiciousness, for the sake of the Prajajanas, because he's a king. So those sort of Vaidika karma may be there, which he is offering to the Lord. But point is, he is very much aware of the Vaishnava principles. The way he is asking the question, based on that only, we can realize that he is a exalted Vaishnava himself, and his audience is also exalted. They also would very much love to hear about this aspect of Bhagavat Dharma, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all these wonderful limbs of devotional service. Yaihi prasannaha prapannaya dasyatyaatmanam api ajaha. And these Bhagavad Dharmas, these Bhagavad Dharma duties, or you could say limbs of Bhagavad Dharma, actions of Bhagavad Dharma, they are so wonderful that if one executes them, Lord becomes extremely pleased, prasannaha, and then prapannaya dasyati, then he will bestow upon the surrendered soul something. What will he bestow? Atmanam. He will bestow himself. He will give himself to the surrendered devotee, that Supreme Lord Aja. So you see, it's very clear to him, King Nimi, that actually Bhagavad Dharma leads to Atyantika Kshema, and that Atyantika Kshema is what? It is Lord himself awarding to his devotees. He is awarding himself to the devotees. That's the Atyantik Kshema. There is nothing higher than that, where Krishna gives himself only. He welcomes the devotee in his own abode, this way. So they want to hear about Bhagavad Dharmas only, because other dharmas, they don't lead to Atyantika Kshema. They would lead to their own Kshema, no doubt, but it's not Atyantika Kshema. Path of Nishkam Karma Yoga can lead to goal of moksha. Path of Jnana can lead to goal of moksha. Yoga can lead to goal of moksha or Shantarati. But can they lead to Prema? Prema Bhakti. The love of Godhead, no, that is only possible by Bhagavad Dharma. So that's why That's the path that he wants to hear. He wants to hear about those practices like that. I don't want to hear about other paths which are obstructed. I want to hear about the path of bhakti, where the atyantik kshema is achieved, because Lord only gives himself to the devotee. Purport. Within the material world, there are two classes of mundane philosophers who present their opinions about the Supreme Lord. Some so-called theologians claim that we are infinitely different from God, and therefore they tend to look upon the Lord as something far beyond our power to understand. And then there are Advaitvadis who claim that there is no difference between God and the living entity and the material world. You have heard about these two people. Yeah. There is the philosophy of immanence, and there is philosophy of transcendence. So there is immanence and transcendence. So sometimes those who are followers of the philosophy of immanence, they think that pantheism is one version of that also, where they think, okay, everything is God. Everything, this table is God, this wall is God, this bottle is God, सब कुछ भगवान है, ये भी भगवान है, वो भी भगवान है, सब कुछ भगवान. So that is immanence at a lower level. Understanding is not right, but that's the philosophy of immanence.
What is this immanent, Prabhuji? In English, what is the spelling?
IMMANENCE. Immanence.
उसका अर्थ क्या है?
Immanence यानी प्रभु सर्वव्यापीता, सर्वव्यापी. So God is just everywhere. Bhaktivedanta speaks about these two ideology. Immanence. So God is just everywhere. So everything is God. Like that they feel. So typically impersonalists have this idea. And then there is another idea called transcendence, where God is not said to be present in everything of this world. In fact, he is completely transcendental. He has nothing to do with this world. That's the idea of Christianity, or that's the idea of the Semitic religions like Christianity and Islam and all that. They don't consider God to be present in this world. They consider him to be completely transcendent. He is nothing to do with this material world. How has material world come about? They cannot tell that. They just feel like there is God and there is material world. In between, there is no connection. Ex nihilo. They say that this world came out of nothing. Something like that. Why? Because God is completely out of the picture. So this idea of transcendent Lord and immanence Lord, both are two extremes, and that's what the purport Prabhupada disciples are speaking about, that these two are extremities. So is God transcendent or is God immanent? What will you say? As per Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is God transcendent or is he immanent? Yeah, anyone?
Prabhuji, we hear that Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuta. He is there separate.
Very nice.
And he is also sarva khalo idam brahman. Both.
Wonderful. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto. That's perfect quote. So he is actually transcendent and immanent both. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, God is not just transcendent or he is not just immanent. He is transcendent and immanent both. So he is present in this world, very much present in this world, as Paramatma. In the entire material energy, he is present as Paramatma. He also comes as incarnations, which is his, completely Satchidananda Rupa, transcendental form. So that is the aspect of immanence, and transcendental because he stays beyond this world in his abode like Goloka or Vaikuntha. So both the aspects are there, because what happens if you accept only the immanence, then you don't think about God's form separate from the world. Then the world only becomes a manifestation of the Lord. So that's why these people have idea of pantheism, worship anything, worship nature, worship ghost, worship mountains and you are worshipping the Lord. This idea is the typical idea of immanence. And then if you don't take that ideology, if you take the ideology of transcendence, then God has nothing to do with this world. So then, so the whole world is for my enjoyment. This idea of Christians also, dominion. We have dominion over everything in this world. So they want to enjoy everything for oneself. There is no question of accepting something to the Lord and offering to the Lord and then taking it as his prasad and all that. Why? Because no, the world is for us. Here, Lord is not there. So the idea is actually very much deleting the God from the picture. That's the transcendent aspect this way. So that's why Chinte Bheda Ved is actually the perfect, you can say, synthesis of immanence and transcendence. Synthesis is always a very good higher combination of the two. You know the word synthesis. It's a very technical meaning of the word synthesis. Meaning what? Two apparently contradictory ideas, they come together on a higher platform. Then it's called synthesis. Not on that same platform. That will be only juxtaposing two ideas. But when you say synthesis, it is at a higher level. Like karma is rejection of the, you can say jnana is rejection of the senses. You want to reject the senses. Karma is acceptance of the senses. You want to use it for your own pleasure. So bhakti is the synthesis because there is this aspect of karma, that is you are engaging the senses, but there is still the detachment of jnani. So you see now you have clubbed both the aspects and still synthesized into a higher reality. Because if you just bring two conflicting ideas together, karma और ज्ञान, वो दोनों एक साथ कैसे जा सकता है? It is impossible. Because karma means you are attached to sense enjoyment. The sense objects and senses will come together. In jnana, they cannot come together. It is impossible. You have to separate sense and sense object. So bhakti is synthesis where you can connect sense and sense objects, but not for enjoyment, with the detachment of jnani. In fact, much higher than that is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So that is called synthesis. So immanence and transcendence, both the ideas, they are synthesized in the platform of bhakti. Sorry, there is some issue with this sharing. So I'm disconnecting and connecting again. Yeah. Okay, so that's how. So these are the two classes of mundane philosophers that they talk about. So we are neither Advaitvadis, we are not the materialists. We are actually devotees who follow Achinte Bheda Ved. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his sublime teaching of Achinte Bheda Ved Tattva, has clearly demonstrated that we are qualitatively one and quantitatively different. Further, there are numerous practical historical examples of the loving propensity of Supreme Personality of Godhead. What's the idea here? The idea here is actually of the Bhagavad Dharma. The Bhagavad Dharma is so wonderful that the Lord becomes ready to give himself to that devotee. So what are the examples of a devotee, Lord giving himself to the devotee? So that's why the Mother Yashoda's example of the Mother Yashoda is coming up here. Mother Yashoda, how she actually by her love conquered Krishna, isn't it? By her love, she bound Krishna completely. So Krishna gave himself to Mother Yashoda completely, that way. So that sort of mercy, that sort of kripa has not been done on anyone, not even on Shivji or not even on Lakshmi or anyone like that. So Pandavas or Mother Yashoda or Krishna giving himself to gopis, these are all examples of Atmanam api ajaha, this idea. Dasyati Atmanam api. Dasyati yane dete hai. Dasyati, the word means he gives. He gives himself to the devotee. That's the point over here in these examples. The perfection of spiritual love, as described in this verse, it was actually elaborately presented by Lord Krishna himself in his Brahminical incarnation at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is saying, the disciples are saying, the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have expounded this perfect doctrine in innumerable books given by Srila Prabhupada. So this whole idea of this particular spiritual love, Bhagavad Dharma to its perfection, that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are trying to present it. So even disciples of Prabhupada write very humbly. You can see here, this is the part. Our present insignificant attempt is simply to complete his translation and commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are constantly praying for his guidance so that this work can simply be completed exactly as he would have desired. If one can understand these teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as they are being presented in Western languages, surely the Lord will be satisfied. Such a sincere seeker of spiritual truth. Text 32. So in this way, the Navayogendras arrived and they were welcomed, and the enquiries were submitted also to them by King Nimi. So now they start answering. So you can see these enquiries are quite in line with or quite similar to the inquiries which are made by Vasudev to Narada, right? Vasudev also asked about the same thing. Vasudev also asked about the Atyantika Kshema and that, and here also they are exactly asking the same thing. That's why this conversation is being reminded, and then it is being recounted also. Yes, Arjuneshwar Prabhu.
Prabhuji, regarding this Atyantik Shema, this is also spoken in the second canto by Sukadeva Goswami.
Yeah.
So there also Siva Pantha. So we see for the practicing sadhaka it's there, but how the world will see it, Prabhuji, that the world is changing with this ekantika shema. How the world is able to perceive that happiness, like we say klesagni subhada. So how the world is going to get that thing?
See, Prabhu, that aspect, obviously, it will be possible only by practicing the process of bhakti, no? So, by practicing, they can understand that aspect of kleshagni by sadh. See, at the level of intellectual conviction, if we can convince a person to take to the process of bhakti, practice it in his life to some degree, and then the process will have its effect, and then the person actually can realize that, yes, this is a wonderful process and I'm getting helped and I can move on. So intellectually convincing a person about even the most auspicious path, that may be something theoretical. We can convince to a person to some degree. We can compare it by, we can speak by comparing it to jnana, yoga, bhakti, and speak about sadhya sadhana of these items. So it's actually still a logical presentation. In general, when you want to convince a person of practicing something in today's day and time, to what to speak of that, right? People are practically atheistic. And if we speak some sort of how spiritual dimension is needed, then they may be willing to practice something, and they are not going to ask even question like, okay, so what is difference between jnana, yoga, karma, bhakti? No, they don't know anything. So oftentimes they will directly come to the path of bhakti only, and then they practice, and then they may realize. But the realization aspect, as you are saying, na hesha shiva pantha, that there is no auspicious path like this bhakti path and all that. Well, that will take some time. It's not just theoretical aspect. If somebody is wise enough, viveki like that, you may give the knowledge also that you see this is sadhya, this is sadhan, this is the process. So how bhakti process is most joyful in the sadhana time also, and the goal is also very glorious. So we can talk about those things in terms of some philosophical explanation. But finally, people have to practice, no? If you are saying Kleshagni, they will only be convinced if they practice bhakti and then they themselves experience some sort of this auspicious nature of bhakti, which can be experienced even in sadhan kal, right? Even in very initial days, we see that bhakti starts manifesting that aspect of taking the miseries away. One starts becoming free from the misery caused by senses and the mind. And to the degree one will go ahead and get purified, to that degree one will go on getting convinced. So if you're asking on day one, somebody be convinced with that, no, it's not possible. We can convince people to practice spiritual life in some way. Understand?
Prabhuji, bhakti as a process can be prescribed for all people, but can it be prescribed as a medicine for their immediate disease, or it can be prescribed only for their ultimate salvation from this world?
No,
Ultimately,
why not, Prabhu? I mean, Shastra itself is prescribing also, no? There is a time to speak about the, you can say, causeless or unmotivated nature of devotional service. You know, it's not like we may speak about that on day one. We don't have to, no? Shastra itself, Shukdev is saying, Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udharadhi tivrena bhakti yogena. So he is directly recommending that even if you are sarvakam, even if you are akam, you are mokshakam, no problem. You practice this process, which is pure devotional service. Tivrena bhakti yogena there means bhakti which is devoid of jnana and karma. General meaning may be intensely, but you see there how Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the meaning of that tivrena. Tivrena there means you don't mix jnana, karma, nishkam karma yoga, this, that, in that. No. You practice pure bhakti's limbs only. That is tivrena, this way. So initially the person may be sarvakam or like that. Even in our own preaching, right, we tell people that, see, your mind is troubling you so much. So this is mantra. Mananatrayate iti mantra. So you chant this holy name and you will become free from your mental issues and also. No problem, we can. But there is a time, right? After some time, we do want to tell that actually this is what bhakti is. So then we start teaching people Bhakti Samvit Sindhu, where we start teaching people that definition of bhakti. Then sometimes even till that point, people are not clear. I have seen, I teach in many Bhakti Shastri batches. So I see that at the level of Bhakti Shastri, the person is first time becoming clear that what is actually bhakti. They may have a lot of misconceptions till that time also, this way. So there is a way we can do it gradually. All right, bro. I think that will answer this. Text 32. Shri Narada Uvacha Evam te nimina prashta Vasudeva Mahattama Pratipujya Bruvan Pritya Sasadasya Tvijam Dhrunapam. Okay. One more you going through, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Sri Narada said, O Vasudeva, when Maharaj Nimi had thus inquired from the 9 Yogendras about devotional service to the Lord, those best of saintly persons sincerely thanked the king for his questions and spoke to him with affection in the presence of the members of the sacrificial assembly and the Brahmana priests.
Yeah. Thank you. So Narad Muni is continuing. Narad Muni is speaking to Vasudev, quoting the conversation between the Nimi and Navayogendras. Evam te Nimina Prashta. So in this way, when they were inquired unto by Maharaj Nimi, those Mahattama, they are not just Mahat, they are not great souls, they are the Mahattama, they are the best of the saints. Mahat, pure devotees of Mahabhagavatas, learned also in all aspects. They are very clear with jnana, karma, yoga, all these things. So they are a very perfect kind of preachers, right? See, in oftentimes in Shastras, especially with preachers, this quality of not only being very good practitioners or like for to speak of these pure devotees, but also the aspect of jnana is very much glorified, that they have to have proper knowledge. They have to be learned people. Vishwan Chakravarti in third canto says that he says that those who are jigyasuna swamatam neyam, and jigyasu person, inquisitive person should know about his own siddhanta. But he says, budhaihi paramatam apidneyam. But those who are wise people, those who are the people who have to, speak and convince to others, those people should also know about their philosophy and others' philosophy also. So, inquisitive person may just know about his own philosophy, but budhaihi, for those who are people who have to convince others and speak to others, they have to know about swamata and paramata also, our own philosophy and also the comparative analysis. So imagine if preacher is only not aware of knowledge, he doesn't understand sadhya sadhan clearly. So he's going to spread ignorance further then. He's not going to give right understanding that way. So that's why the personalities like this Navayogendras, they are actually learned also. They're learned in all the aspects of yoga, jnana, karma and all, to the degree that is needed, obviously, on the path of bhakti. There is no end to pursue knowledge even of these individual paths. We don't have to. But especially what Bhagavatam says, the range and subtlety of that thought should be analyzed very nicely by those who are trying to teach Bhagavatam. Teachers, preachers, all of them in that manner. So, Pratipujya, Abruvan Pritya. So, they themselves congratulated those words and they were very happy and they spoke to the king along with the assembly over there. So, that means that the assembly, Sasadasya Ritvijam Nrupam, meaning that actually that assembly was also very, very devoted to hear the principles of Bhagavad Dharma. The king and the assembly, both of them were very eager to hear principles of Bhagavad Dharma. So, a very nice conversation is going to happen now here, where these 9 questions which are set forth by Maharaj Nimi, the first question being the Bhagavad Dharma in that. So, similarly, he will speak about many 8 more questions like that. Atyantika Kshema, Bhagavad Dharma, it is being considered one question only, because we know that he asked like, please speak to me about that Bhagavad Dharma which will lead to Atyantika Kshema, with that innate understanding. So that's one question. And then he will ask another second in this chapter and then further like that. So Shri Kaviruvacha, now this is the answer beginning. So first question is being answered by the senior most of all of them, which is Kavi, Shri Kavi. Shri Kaviruvacha. Manne kutaschet bhayamachyutasya padambujopasanamatra nityam udvigna buddhera sadatma bhavat vishvatmana yatra nivartate bhihi. Okay. Sachinandan Bhagwan Prabhu, you want to read, Prabhu?
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhu. Shri Kavi said,
someone
I
is
consider
unmuted. Someone is unmuted. Please keep yourself on mute because there is some buzzing sound that is coming. I can't every time mute everyone. So please keep yourself on mute as soon as you speak and it's done. Sachinandan Bhagwan Prabhu, yes, please read.
Sri Kavi said, I consider that one whose intelligence is constantly disturbed by his falsely identifying himself with the temporary material world can achieve real freedom from fear only by worshipping the lotus feet of the infallible Supreme Lord. In such devotional service, all fears ceases entirely.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. So Sri Kaver is answering first and foremost. You are saying what is the Atyantika Kshema, right? Aham manne. I think that what is Atyantika Kshema? Achyutasya padambujopasanam. The path of serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Achyutasya padambujopasanam. That's actually the Atyantika Kshema. Now you may say that, is this not answer for Bhagavad Dharma actually? How is it this answer for Atyantik Kshema or the Prema? So that is qualified by the word Akutaschit Bhayam. This is that service of the Supreme Lord where one is completely freed from all the fear. So now, what is the characteristic of bhakti? Like at what platform this characteristic of bhakti gets manifested, where there is just absolutely no fear of any sort for the devotee? It is only this characteristic gets completely manifested at the level of bhava or prema. That's why this verse is talking about prema, atyantika kshema. You understand? So achyutasya padambujopasanam, service of the lotus feet of Achyuta, that can be applied to even sadhana bhakti. But on path of sadhana bhakti, has sadhaka got rid of complete fear? Not necessarily. Path is certainly very glorious, but a sadhaka is not on that level still, right? Slowly his fear starts going away. And there is this stage of bhava or prema where vidyate hridaya granthish chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmane drishtaevatmanishvare. So that's why the path of akutaschit bhayam, that's actually the atyantik kshema, that stage, that phase of bhakti. So even if one is situated here, atra, in this world, even if one is situated, but this constantly this service of the Supreme Lord, and which is free from all sorts of fear, no doubts, no fear, nothing. One has situated himself on the highest platform of bhakti. This way. Otherwise, till that time, udvigna buddher asadatma bhavat vishwatmana yatra nivardate. Till that time, the conditioned soul or a sadhaka is sometimes udvigna buddhi, right? He is actually, his intelligence is disturbed or his mind may be disturbed. Why asadatma bhavat? Because atma bhav, because we are identifying ourselves with asat, the temporary things of this world, especially for conditioned soul. If one takes to bhakti, then one soon starts getting rid of that attachment to the temporary things, and udvigna buddhi, instead of that he becomes actually a happy person, susukham kartum avyayam. Yes, but this is the stage of bhakti, or that this is the path of prema, where vishwatmana yatra nivartate bhi, the fear is actually completely destroyed. There is absolutely no fear, thoroughly destroyed fear. There is nothing. So this vishwatmana means there is complete destruction of the fear. Or it can also mean that the fear is destroyed by Lord himself. भगवान खुद जो है वो हृदय से उस भय को निकाल देते हैं. The fear of so many things, right? Fear of losing material aspects, material attachments, maybe the fear of our own protection, the fear of protection of our resources. I should not lose my money, I should not lose my intelligence, I should not lose my beauty, I should not lose my so many things that the conditioned soul considers as resources this way. So Shuddha Bhakti is that platform actually where we see that we become completely freed from all the doubts and fear and everything that way. So that is Atyantika Kshema. Srila Jiva Goswami says that actually, that this Atyantika Kshema also has a constant spurti of the Lord. Padam Bhujopasanam, he has translated as Anavarat Spurtyadi. Anavarat Spurti, which means that, see this word I am saying, Padam Bhujopasanam. This word he translates as constant spurti within the Lord. So this happens only at the level of bhava, right? Bhava. So because of that constant spurti of the Lord, one is just freed from all sorts of fear. One is completely transcendentally happy. Prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha. In the opinion of Srila Siddha Swami, the word asadatma bhavat in this verse indicates that the living entity is constantly disturbed by fear. So-called religious activities executed in bodily conception of life are always accompanied by fear and anxiety about the ultimate result. But Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that even in the stage of sadhana bhakti, in which one is practicing devotional service through rules and regulations, the neophyte can have a direct experience of fearlessness by the mercy of the Lord. So the point is, other paths, they are the paths on which there is a fear. Even on jnana or karma, there is actually a fear on those paths. But bhakti path is considered to be much different than those paths because there is this aspect of a Supreme Lord becoming our shelter, surrendering unto Supreme Lord. So in conditioned state, even a sadhaka bhakta may not be free from fear. That is agreed, no problem. But the point is the path itself gives actually a great feeling of a shelter and reassurance. If you see for jnanis and yogis, because they don't have that aspect of surrender, no. So it's all about one's abilities, and so a jnani or yogi may have that fear. What if I am not able to achieve dhyana? Or what if I am not able to achieve that nirvishesh samadhi? Kya hoga mera? So he has to have that great faith in his ability and strive hard with his intelligence or with his sense control and all that. They have to be people like that, a very confident sadhaka in that way. So in bhakti, actually the surrender aspect is there, no? So it's a very, very extremely reassuring and hope-giving aspect because one understands that actually Supreme Lord is there with me. I mean, as I am eager to take one step, Supreme Lord is eager to take 100 steps towards me, right? So this feeling, and then it is true also, right? Krishna is indeed interested in those who are surrendered unto him. He himself is ready to take care of them that way. So that's why this path is being glorified as path of akutaschit bhayam. And that experience is, one can have that experience even at a sadhana stage, right? We see that sometimes some people may come from practicing other paths and all that, but on the path of bhakti, the kind of shelter one feels is very, very amazing. It's a path of shelter and grace. That's all. As one's devotional service matures, becomes matured, the Lord reveals himself to the devotee and fear is totally vanquished forever. So you can see. When Lord reveals himself to the devotee, फिर वहां पे तो fear is completely vanquished. Akutaschid bhayam. There is just no fear whatsoever. Fear of all these aspects and all that. So that's the stage of perfection. That's the stage of prema. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has quoted the following verse. Tavad bhayam dravina deha surin nimittam shoka spruha paribhavo vipulascha lobha tavan mametya sadavagraha arti moolam Yavannate angrim abhayam pravranita loka. As long as
नवीन टॉपिक मशीन मध्ये टाकलं.
Hare Krishna, please keep yourself on mute.
नवीन उत्तम मागं तो
Mataji, please keep yourself on mute. Yavannate angrim abhayam pravranita loka. Till the time the loka, the janas, the people, they don't take the shelter of the Supreme Lord. Till that time there is this misconception causing distress, there is shoka, there is praha, there is lamentation, there are so many material desires, there is this defeat, there is greed, and then finally all this causing bhayam, fear. So this is the aspect, right? So even as sadhaka at our level also, we experience some sort of shelter, no, in Vaishnava association and in Supreme Lord's mercy, that yes, Krishna is there for me this way. So even aspects of success or failure and all, because that Krishna is there, so we have faith that Krishna is observing everything and he will surely, whatever he's doing is for my sake. So this sort of mindset is not there in Jnanis and Yogis. If they are not succeeding on their path, they have to be mentally very strong, thinking that, okay, I'm not doing it right, I have to do it right. I have to capture mind and senses and bring them under my control. So that's how you see they follow very strict vairagya and kadak vairagya rehta hai. And they want to follow very extreme measures of everything this way. So bhakti is soft, bhakti is mrudu, but then there is this aspect of great shelter. So it's not that devotees are weak-hearted people, but I'm saying the mindset with which they are strong-hearted is different. It is with this aspect that Krishna is there. I may be small, but actually Krishna is very big. And if he wants, he has the best plans for me, no matter what. So yes, we see acharyas are also very, very strong-hearted people. But there is a very great difference between that that mentality which is at the root. It is different. ये वै भगवता प्रोक्ता उपाया ह्यात्मलब्धये अंजः पुंसाम अविदुषाम विद्धि भागवतान हितान. Okay, any Mataji would like to read? Krishna Rupa Mataji is here, or someone else? Archavigra Mataji, you want to read? All right, no problem. Kadam Kanan Prabhu, please read.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
You are.
Even ignorant living entities can very easily come to know the Supreme Lord if they adopt those means prescribed by the Supreme Lord himself. The process recommended by the Lord is to be known as Bhagavad Dharma, or devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So, Atyantika Kshema is prema. And what is Bhagavad Dharma? किसको भागवत धर्म बोलेंगे? ये वही भगवता प्रोक्ता उपाया ही आत्मलब्धये. Very nice definition is being given of Bhagavad Dharmas. Atmalabdhaye, for realizing the self, for realizing the Supreme Lord, those upayas, those means, those processes which are spoken by the Lord himself, they are called Bhagavad Dharmas. By which Anjaha Pumsama Vidusham, by which even a less intelligent person, not a very learned person, even such a person can also very easily achieve the perfection. Anjaha. So please know that those upayas, those means are Bhagavatas, meaning those are Bhagavad Dharmas. That's Bhagavad Dharma, basically, you can say. Those are the principles of Bhagavad Dharma. That's why it's in plural. Bhagavad Dharma principles, something like that. So, what is the definition is? Those which are spoken by the Supreme Lord himself. And they are very, very easy means by which even the not so much learned people or qualified people can also achieve the perfection on the path of bhakti. This way. So, this is a special thing that are not all the paths spoken by the Supreme Lord? So, no. See, the paths like Varnashrama Dharma, they are spoken by people like Manu. Manu is the speaker of Varnashrama Dharma in Manu Smriti. Or paths like Jnana, they are spoken by beings like Yajnavalkya. Or even Smriti Shastras, Karma path is also spoken by people like Shandilya or like that. But if you see Bhagavad Dharma, that is spoken by Lord himself actually. And this is referring to first and foremost the Chatushloki. In Chatushloki, Lord is the one who propounds Chatushloki, right? Then that Chatushloki is also expanded by his devotees like Narada, his devotees like Vyasa. I mean, Vyasadeva is Supreme Lord himself, but yes, playing the role of his devotee. Narada, Vyas, Shukadeva, such being. Then they also, in following him, they also speak about. But originally, that knowledge of Bhagavad Dharma, Lord, actually, he himself takes it on himself to speak. So we can talk about that in terms of the Chatushloki itself, but even Bhagavad Gita for that matter, right, where he himself is speaking that particular aspect. But more than Bhagavad Gita, it refers to this Chatushloki aspect, that where we see very clearly Bhakti is established. Etavadeva jidnyasam tattva jidnyasuna atmanaha anvaya vyatireka yat syat sarvadra sarvada. Bhakti is being established as the path, highest path in that manner. And all those other places where Lord is also speaking Bhagavad Dharma principles. While paths like Karmakand, paths like Varnashrama, paths like he gives to other beings to speak about. You see, he himself speaks like Kapila is speaking the aspect of Bhagavad Dharma again. Kapila speaks Bhagavad Dharma. Lord Krishna speaks Bhagavad Dharma in Uddhav Gita. Uddhava Gita is also again Bhagavad Dharma. So either he or his pure devotees, they speak. But primarily he is the one who propounds, and then in following him, the other devotees speak about. This is not necessarily how the other paths are transmitted. No, Smritis and all that, that is spoken by so many other people. You would hardly find Lord himself speaking on some Varnashram Dharma or some aspects like that. Bhagavad Gita is a different place where you see all the yoga is being explained there. So naturally he's going to speak something about karma, nishkam karma and all that. But overall, in Shastra, if you see when Lord is speaking, he's primarily speaking about Bhagavad Dharma. This way. So that's how the definition is being given here actually. भगवता प्रोक्ता, भागवत का अर्थ भी वही है, भगवता प्रोक्तम तद भागवतम. And the main meaning of the word Bhagavatam is that which is spoken by the Lord. That which is about the Lord, it's ideal. It's like additional. You can say it's a secondary meaning. But main meaning is Bhagavata Proktam iti Bhagavatam. Why? Because Bhagavatam is originally spoken by the Lord, no? Chatushloki. That's in that sense. So this is how, let's see, purport. There are many Vedic scriptures such as Manu Samhita that present standard injunctions for the peaceful management of human society. Such Vedic knowledge is based on the Varnashrama system and all that. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, however, knowledge that can bring one directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Ati Rahasyam. or the most confidential knowledge. Varnashrama is not most confidential knowledge. Bhakti is most confidential knowledge. Even in Bhagavad Gita, you know that. Guhya, Guhyatara, Guhyatama. So Kevala Bhakti is Guhyatama. The knowledge of Lord and Lord's energies, that's Guhyatara. Knowledge of only Atman, soul, that is Guhya. So Bhagavad Dharma is so confidential that it is spoken by the Lord himself. The essence of Bhagavad Dharma is given in Bhagavad Gita, wherein Krishna personally instructs Arjuna. So whether Krishna personally instructing Arjuna or 11th canto where Lord speaks to him about Uddhava, the glory is clearly established of the bhakti path. And that's why we see that Lord is said to be the propounder of Bhagavad Dharma. This way. Prabhupada says, undoubtedly Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to encourage Arjuna to fight. And yet to complete the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructed Uddhava. The Lord wanted Uddhava to fulfill his mission and disseminate knowledge, which he had not spoken even in the Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita has an agenda on Lord's mind, a transcendental agenda. Bhagavad Gita has an agenda on Lord's mind that he wants Arjuna to fight. So that's why you see, he does not elaborate on the path of jnana and yoga. Krishna does not encourage also and does not elaborate also on those two paths. How much yoga description? Only in the 6th chapter. And how much jnana description? Only in the 5th chapter. Before that, 4 chapters, you see that. So much of Nishkam Karma Yoga is being spoken. 2nd chapter, maybe 3rd chapter also, 4th chapter also. Even in 5th chapter, so much of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Why is he encouraging so much? Because on Nishkam Karma Yoga, you can fight. So he's inspiring Arjuna to fight on that level, in that section. But he does not entertain much jnana and yoga because those are karma sannyas paths. And there you can't fight. There can be no jnani which fights the war, I mean to say. They may fight for something else, but you can't have a jnani fighting a war, impossible. You can't have a yogi fighting a war. It is contradictory to their path. But Nishkam Karma Yogi, he can fight. Karma Kandi, he can fight. And Bhakti Yogi, oh, certainly he can fight. So that's why those 3 paths get highlighted by Krishna. But this is not how Uddhav Gita has the context, right? In Uddhav Gita, Lord is sitting there. He's willing to instruct in full glory with full range of topics without any specific agenda per se. So that's why he instructs very well in Uddhava Gita. It's much larger than Gita also, right? 23 chapters. Gita is 18 chapters and like so many number of verses in Uddhav Gita. And you see there is elaborate comparison between jnana, yoga and bhakti there. And bhakti is also explained very beautifully. Wonderful discussion. So that's how we see that Krishna always takes care of speaking the Bhagavad Dharma as much as possible himself, and then obviously his pure devotees, they carry forward also. Like Narada speaks, Vyasadeva speaks, Shukadev speaks, all the other great souls mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Okay, maybe we'll pause here now because this verse will take some time to explain. Yanasthai naro rajan na pramadeta karhichit dhavan nimilyava netre naskhale napatete. It's a very beautiful verse. So let's continue tomorrow. So I'm hoping to finish this chapter tomorrow, and mostly we should be. And then also towards the end, probably start the next chapter. So 4th one is the one which I will do very fast. But 3rd and 5th, there are concepts, so we will try to do justice to some level. No problem. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So those of you who need to go for prasadam or service, please go ahead. Others, if they have question, they can stay back and ask. Krishna Rupa Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one question from this 12th shloka I had. See, I don't have the desire for Krishna at the moment. I mean, even after spending so many years in Krishna consciousness, that desire for Krishna is not a burning desire. But yes, I have this burning desire to hear about Krishna. Then how can I, reconcile these two things? That, of course, it's like a, gradual process, I know. But this desire for Krishna, yeah, when you're yearning for Krishna, it's not at all, you can say, not even 1%, you can say. How will I reconcile these two things, that, okay, I don't have desire for Krishna, but yes, I like to hear about Krishna.
And in that, do you like to hear about Krishna's personal pastimes?
My more interest is how Krishna is interacting with his devotees. Like, not even very intimate pastime, but I like to hear that how Krishna is dealing with different devotees at different
Yeah.
times. How is his reciprocal relationship with those devotees? My interest is more with that. Prabhu.
So that is wonderful. That is good, no? Yeah, see, basically, it's all organic, no? When we say interest in Krishna, so interest in Krishna means interest in hearing about Krishna. So interest in hearing about Krishna, Krishna's dealing with his devotee, Krishna's qualities. So those qualities come out in Krishna's dealings with devotees, no? So that's character of Krishna. How Krishna is sensitive, how is Krishna grateful, how Krishna is very wise, how Krishna tests his devotees. So all these things, they are part of character of Krishna. So it's actually a very wonderful, if one is eager to hear, one likes to hear that aspect. So it's very, very wonderful. It's just that as a sadhaka, we have to be careful also on not being too much fruitive in Krishna Leela in terms of, okay, I heard the whole Krishna Leela, but I didn't get some point of application, so I wasted my 2 hours. So if somebody has this sort of attitude, no, that, oh, actually, I just heard about Krishna's clothes and Krishna's beauty and all that, but what some lessons to practice in life I didn't get, so actually I wasted my time. So if this sort of nature is there, it's not good. In Krishna Lila, Krishna Katha, we don't have to be too much fruitive also. I'm saying all of us, I'm talking about everyone here. So if we are very happy to hear about Krishna's qualities that they come out, because those qualities, especially in sadhaka's life, they become relevant, no? Krishna's dealing becomes very relevant with sadhakas. So that's why one may find them very, very relishable. So it's perfect, it's wonderful.
Even I was thinking
While going through
because
this, just a minute,
Mhm.
let me complete. So
Yes.
while going through this, it's just that, yes, we also cultivate interest for Krishna's personal features, attributes. We are very happy to hear about Krishna's beauty, Krishna's associates, and what does he do with those associates, the details of those associates also. These things should not, like, we should not hear them with like apathy. Uh, so Radha Krishna Gaudamdesh Deepika, for that matter, a book like that, it very nicely describes Krishna's associates and all. So we may read these books with permission of our superiors and all that. But the point is, they are directly Krishna conscious. It is Krishna's Naam, Roop, Guna, Leela, Parshad. So it's a very wonderful thing that way. So pastimes of Krishna in 10th canto also. It's ashray, no? It's a out and out ashray. So if one has taste for that, it's a very fortunate situation. This way, like that. So entire Bhagavatam is glorious, but still ashray is very special. Ashray has been highlighted. So we can, as long as we are interested in hearing those pastimes and hearing Krishna's wonderful qualities, I think it is wonderful. There is absolutely no problem.
Also, I was thinking maybe that because I am in a woman's body and women are very much attached to material things and all, and that is why the more actually I'm trying to go more nearer the material things, and the rajogun and tamogun is keeping on pulling me again and again down and not allowing me to at least reach till sato level. So I was thinking from that point of view also, I think maybe I'll have to take one more birth again as a Prabhuji, and then maybe. So all these things are there. Of course, these things don't make me too much, मुझे दुखी नहीं करते हैं, but it gives me a more impetus that no, do good in this lifetime, and then maybe next lifetime also, somehow the other, in किसी न किसी जन्म में हो जाएगा ठीक, like so.
It's good as long as that humility is inspiring us to take deeper shelter. It is good. But as you know that tattva, I mean Siddhant is very clear that as a Vaishnava, whether one is in male body, female body, if one just develops that eagerness, one can proceed to next stage of bhakti and then even achieve perfection. So it is irrespective of bodily covering one may be in. It's just that, yes, the right cultivation, right process. So in all our practice of bhakti, there is this one track of ashraya, attachment to ashraya, meaning hearing Krishna's leela, hearing Krishna's about Krishna, Krishna's personality. That track has to remain constant. We may do other services, we may teach various things, but then this focus on regularly hearing Krishna Katha, regularly relishing Krishna Katha, Krishna's Leela and all that. That's a very important part, especially for those who are aspiring bhakti in the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us. So,
also your
yes.
those 10th canto and 11th canto, you remember you were taking those classes, and then I think you were not.
They stopped because of my too much engagement. I stopped. So what I'm going to do is after Janmashtami, taking blessings
Hari,
of Lord,
Hari. Yes,
taking
Prabhuji.
blessings from the Lord, I will resume those classes.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah. Actually, when you said Ashraya, immediately my mind went to those 10th canto classes, which was so very nectarian. So
Yeah.
maybe we could again start, with those classes, Prabhuji.
Sure, Mataji.
Thank
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you. Is there a question in chat or something? No, I don't see. Is there any other question anyone wants to ask on what we discussed?
Prabhuji, you mentioned the point Bhagavad Gita is an agenda. Agenda of Krishna to inspire Arjuna to fight. Srila Prabhupada preached the whole world in one Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely. But it has agenda. You see there, it's very clear, no? Why Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to very clearly take up the path of fighting like that. Because he wants to make sure that I mean, Krishna's agenda is obviously very pure. By agenda, we don't mean that agenda like our agenda. No, it's best. Krishna's agenda is actually the manifestation of, you can say, pure devotional service. But I was talking from the angle of, is Krishna doing a thorough treatment to the topic there? Is he doing a thorough treatment of jnana, yoga, vis-a-vis bhakti? So, Srila Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, both of them, they analyze in 11th canto that this aspect over there, that discussion is restricted a bit. While with Uddhav Gita, it's a fuller context, very clear and full context. So that's why the path like Jnana and Yoga, they have been analyzed to a certain, very, very surely to a certain level there. Like someone like Arjuna, is he qualified for jnana? He is. Is he qualified for yoga? He is. Is he qualified for pure bhakti? Of course he is. He is like qualified for anything for that matter. But why Lord Krishna wants him to fight only? Because that's his desire. He wanted that Arjuna establishes this dharma by rooting out all adharmic elements. So from that angle only he speaks there. He does not glorify jnana so much in Bhagavad Gita. Although jnana path is higher than Nishkam Karma Yoga. You tell me, why does Krishna not glorify jnana although jnana is higher than Nishkam Karma Yoga? Arjuneshwar Prabhu, can you tell that?
Yeah, there's a Gyan Sadhana part which Krishna says that you can attain by Niskam Karma Yoga only. You continue
Yeah.
that and you'll attain
Yes.
that. Even though he may mention in 13 to 18.
Yeah.
Uh,
So reason is because he wants a particular thing to be taken up, no? Like Arjuna should not take path of jnana. Arjuna should take path of Nishkam Karma Yoga and offer a good example for the people also. So this is certainly a talk at a certain, like it's also context based. That is what I'm trying to say to you.
But Prabhuji, yeah, it is factual now. Means
No, it's not factual. It's not like that. Nishkam Karma Yoga, the path of Jnana Yoga is higher than Nishkam Karma Yoga.
no, I mean to say the person can attain that path that to that much extent, because here Krishna includes bhakti also in that. So the attainment of the Gyan Sadhana stage through Niskam Karma Yoga, just continue that and he will attain. So it is a factual, na? He will not preach something which is not factual.
That aspect is always there. What I'm saying is yoga and jnana, if you put those paths in front of Nishkam Karma Yoga, which path is higher? Can you tell me objectively?
Objectively, the yoga path is higher.
Objectively, yoga or jnana path is higher. Now, why is Krishna not recommending that over there? That is because those paths need a certain level of qualification. Also, those paths cannot be taken by someone who is acting within Varnashrama. So here is Arjuna now, who is supposed to act, fight, and set that kind of example. So that's why Krishna, although those respective paths like jnana and yoga are very, very high, but you see Krishna is putting them, like sort of playing down those paths. And he's saying, no, you act on path of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now you come to Uddhav Gita. That's not how he presents. He puts now those paths in their proper perspective. Something like Nishkam Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Entire Veda is glorifying Jnana so much. What is Brahma Sutras? Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. So they are saying, please give up that Nishkam Karma Yoga and come to this level of Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. वो तो निष्काम कर्म योगा भी छोड़ने को बोल रहा है वहां पर, कर्मकांड तो दूर रहना है. And now inquire about absolute truth, which is the path of Jnana Kant, or which can also refer to transcendental paths like Bhakti and all, this way. So the normal progression is there, sometimes based on a certain particular path also. What is best in that situation, or what is best for the majority of people also, you speak certain thing. This is how. So that's there in Bhagavad Gita, very much there.
And Prabhuji,
so my point is this only, that not that we are saying that Nishkam Karma Yoga's sadhana cannot give the goal of jnana or like that. Typically speaking, jnanis, they undergo Nishkam Karma Yoga sadhana, then they have Antakuran Shuddhi, and then they start practicing jnana. It's just that, yes, those paths are objectively superior in yoga ladder also. But they are not recommended by Krishna at all, because Krishna wants that Arjuna settles by fighting, and he also provides a good example. This is it.
So in so in Bhagavad Gita, though it is stress is given on Niskam Karma Yoga, so but Srila Prabhupada, how he writes the purports, so he basically inspires the people from Niskam Karma Yoga, but he very secretly takes them to Bhakti.
So that is always that's the highest message, no?
So here also means basically we inspire people not on the Niskam Karma Yoga level. Niskam Karma Yoga level is to just get free from the reactions of one's work. But we say offer to Krishna out of love. That becomes bhakti. So it begins with that idea that you have to offer the result of your work, but you work for Krishna with love for Krishna. You work for that. So that then removes the jnana path, yoga path, and directly begins with the niskama karma. It seems to be, but it goes
No,
directly.
it's not like that. It's not right, Prabhu. Let the section come. I think you have some confusion on concepts like Nishkam Karma Yoga. When he offers it to Krishna, then that becomes bhakti. No, it doesn't become bhakti.
No. I am
It is
saying.
Bhagavad Arpit Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Ha.
So let this concept become very clear to you that what is considered actually bhakti. Offering the results to Krishna is not considered bhakti, Prabhu.
No, offering the result with love for Krishna, to attain the love for
With
Krishna.
love also. With love also. Is it considered bhakti? It's not actually. There is something very important element that is missing. Offering along those results with love also, still something is missing. So let that section come. It automatically will fall place. Everything will fall place there. There is different types of bhakti, Prabhu. There are bhaktis which involve the karma elements, jnana elements. There is Sangha Siddha, there is Swarup Siddha, and there is Arop Siddha. So we'll come to that. My only point in bringing Bhagavad Gita discussion was that within Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had not thoroughly sort of placed the everything because he was on the battlefield. So he hasn't thoroughly placed paths like jnana and karma in comparison with bhakti, because yes, there is a certain context there. But while speaking to Uddhava, he puts a very detached analysis of the paths, very, very clearly. You get it?
Yes, Prabhuji. This Sri Gurupu has asked a question.
Okay.
You mentioned about the 9-island Bharatvarsha. In Bhagavad Gita 14.14, it is said that those who are highly developed in mode of goodness are promoted to the higher heavenly planetary systems, and those who are overpowered by the modes of passion are situated in the middle planetary systems, the Earth and the similar planets, quoted in the 3.6.28. What are these similar planets like Earth?
Okay. See, this entire Bhumandala, on the Bhumandala, whatever is there, that comes under earthly planetary systems. So you see on Bhumandala, there are so many Varshas, right? And practically all those Varshas are like celestial planets. Only Bharat Varsha on that has this aspect of certain kind of living, like 4 yugas are there only on Bharat Varsha. Other yugas, other places, Varshas, it's not 4 yugas even. So all those Varshas like Hiranyamaya Varsha and all those different Varshas. So when we talk about these other planetary systems, we mean by what all exists on the Bhumandala. All that. So all these different Varshas and that's what they are meant by the other planetary systems on Bhumandala.
Another question, little out of today's discussion, that Lord Krishna expands into Balaram and Balaramji further expands. This is based on the Gaudiya Sampradaya Nishtha. How one person from other Sampradaya, he wants to find some scriptural references?
That's a long question, maybe. We'll talk tomorrow. See, when you have to talk to other Sampradayas people, you have to talk in a certain way, actually. We can't talk on the basis of books like Laghu Bhagavatamrita and all. No. It's a completely inside, especially on Gaudiya. Gaudiya Acharya has given, and certain references in that they do come from other Puranas and all that. So when we have to present, then we have to take those references and speak on the basis of that. And certain ideas we may not be able to speak to them, like how we can speak as a revelation in our own sampradaya, So yes, so many of the aspects in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, I would say, we would not like to speak them to other sampradayas. We would like to keep that revelation amongst us, and to them you can speak on a certain level of understanding that way. So So the basic premise of question only, I would say it needs some consideration. We don't have to speak like the way we speak to our own insiders, to outside people, because something is based on revelation. So if the person does not accept that revelation, then you just can't convince him. Right? So revelation and Shastra Yukti, Shastra Praman, you can speak on aspect of Shastra Praman to them, not so much the aspect of revelation. It depends also how much person faith he has in our sampradayas and all. But usually, talking to other sampradaya people, the aspect of our own revelation is not so much spoken. You speak from the angle of common Shastra, what does it say? Like 3 kinds of Vishnu. This is a very simple idea to speak. That should not be an issue to speak this on the basis of the Shastra, on the basis of some pramanas also and all that. But yeah, some other ideas may be a little difficult to speak. So we have to see, Prabhu, it's not an easy thing just like that, because the main problem that comes in is, for us, we accept our acharyas with complete faith. For another sampradaya person, it will not happen. So then that's when you have to understand that there will be some limit of what we can speak to such a person. Okay. Let's stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, tomorrow will be the same time, 10:45 to 2 o'clock. Hare Krishna.